Hey listeners, how are you? We're back. Well, look, some of us is back. A few teeth missing, but hopefully this week you can understand me. I had a bit of a chuckle at what I recorded last week. I may have been a little bit high on the pain medication, but I definitely had a mouthful, which look is nothing new for me. You think I'd be used to it, but it's all in the gag reaction, I believe, and those words were stuck halfway down. But look, let's move on. We are here. We're back. It's episode 70 after a couple of weeks. If you're just joining us, it is not too late to escape now. But look, if you're a returning victim, by all means, stay and join us. Now, I've had a few people reach out in the last few weeks, just reminding me this is a trophy podcast for PlayStation. I know we may have taken a deviation there for a while, but I'm happy to report that we have a wonderful guest today, a real see you next Tuesday sort of dude, if you ask me. And we're going to be talking many games, probably most of these games I've never heard of, which is wonderful. They verge on skill or some sort of bullshit along that lines, but we'll find out. It is my pleasure to welcome back the returning guest from the relatively safe perch of Queensland these days, I believe, in Australia. Reddy, how are you today, sir?
Good, thank you.
So what's up? It's been some time since I've talked to you. I mean, I make a bit of a joke here. Queensland, obviously, the borders are closed again or whatever else. But, it's been pretty good up there. I think you've been living the dream still, I imagine. How's life been over the last few months?
It's been relatively the same, but with added fuckery at work. And I've never talked about my nursing home job on the show before, and I don't see that changing today.
Excellent, good. I like a shutdown in the first 2 minutes. It's wonderful. Well, look, why don't we deviate across more then to games? Now, if you haven't heard Reddy speak before, I will warn you, it's a bit of a stream of consciousness, listeners, which I really love. So, if you're sitting there going, fuck me, half the time CJ talks so quick, I can't understand anything he says. Well, you're in for a treat today because I think we're going to try and out-talk each other as we go. But there will be some wonderful knowledge. So sit back and relax, put on whatever game you're grinding away to now. And let's see if we can throw some gaming love and knowledge at you. And look, I'm going to open the floor here, Reddy, because I want to talk games today, and I want to start with you. I want you to throw us some out there, throw some love. Where do you want to start?
Well, I'll start from when I came on last time and I was working on Mud Runner. Yeah, I actually I finished that off. I 100%ed it, and it was funny because I was it's a very long game, so I was listening to this podcast, and at the time when I was wrapping it up, it was an episode I was on, so that was pretty fucking weird. But yeah, that was a great game. That was really good. I felt like it was over a little bit too soon because the sort of scenarios that we had towards the end, I'd be diligently working with old mate, slow and steady kind of thing, and a Russian player would join our session and just in his giant truck that I hadn't even unlocked yet, and just went and delivered most of the loads before I'd even kind of gotten myself out of the bog. So that was fantastic, I mean, that was quite easy and quick, but at the same time, I felt like, I wonder if I shortchanged myself a little bit out of that experience. But, when SnowRunner came along later on in the year, and the co-op was going to break the trophies if you even, went near it, I kind of went and did everything solo, and I kind of paid for that. So it all evened out in the end. But just afterwards, I did the original version of Invector, which I'd had on my list for about a year. I finally kind of got over myself and went ahead and played that. And in the time that game came out, the rhythm game Invector with the Avicii tracks, for anyone who hasn't heard the every other time it's been mentioned on the show, but yeah, in the time that came out, Tones and I released a bunch of singles, and I just it wasn't the worst music I'd ever heard anymore. And I sort of I actually really enjoyed the game once it sort of clicked, and I realized I could press R1 instead of L1. I got the 15 combo really easily, and then I did the other stack of it in like a day.
Yeah.
A day after. So isn't that funny? I whinged about that for quite some time, and I was like, yeah, whatever, and I just left it. And yeah, what do you know? Actually went down and tried to actually play it, and it worked out well.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you refer to the second stack. Now, I believe, I could be wrong here, but the original is not available anymore, is it? They pulled that.
No, and Yeah, and I've finally got one of these OR tags on my list because I didn't get Aero, and there was one
Mm,
other one that was re-released. I didn't get that either. So this is the only OR game I've got.
mm,
But I saw that recently that the mediocre horizontal scrolling shoot 'em up Griffin Knight got a definitive edition, and then they got rid of the original one. And
mm.
I'm kind of glad that I bought the original one. I've had it for ages, and I played it for 5 minutes once. I thought, you know. But
That
but yeah,
qualifies you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, shortly after that, I mean, it's not really. Oh, here's something, right? Here's something I did in February. Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax Ignition. Yeah, on the PS4. I mean,
Mm,
it's on every PlayStation console or something, and it's just one stack. And mine was in Japanese, so I'd kind of like, I put it off a little bit. But what I didn't realize is that this is like a 7 hour platinum that's very, very easy. And I took 4 years, I just left it there. I bought it when it came out. I played it for 5 minutes or something, and then when I returned to it, I was just so surprised. I mean, there's 100 combo trophy. It's a piece of piss. It's got all the modern conveniences. So and I saw it on the Hong Kong store for so cheap. It was $10 or less one time, and given the sales just repeat themselves endlessly, keep an eye out for that one. I recommend that one. Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax Ignition.
yeah.
Not the original one, the sequel, because the original one does have pain in the ass. I still haven't finished that one yet.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah.
just before we go any further here, I'm just going to
Mm,
put a preface here because look, I know you're funny business. I know you're capable of playing across multiple languages as you so wish. But in case you're not familiar with Ready, there's probably going to be a lot of Japanese, Asian, Eastern games. I mean, I think we're even going to visit. Oh, now where was your most recent account? I'm sure we'll get to that at some point as well.
it India.
India, that's right. So
That's
we're doing
right.
it's a world trip today without leaving your house, listeners, which is wonderful. But and also I'll preface it. Reddy is a bit of a skilled gamer, so when he refers to things being easy, take that with a grain of salt. But look, I'm going to pull you up on this one. Is this
Yeah.
Dengeki Guku
Yeah.
Bunko Fighting
Yeah.
Climax? I've offended many people already there. I apologize. Is this a button masher fighter though, or is this a you refer to the 100? You flinged off the 100 combo as a piece of piss.
It really is. It was, man. I was surprised. But yeah. I mean, no, it's definitely not a button masher. No, it's more like Street Fighter and everything, where you have your quarter circle forward
Hmm.
things. But I mean, it's the inputs are very generous. It's just these games are so much easier than they used to be. So you play an old Neo Geo game, you play like some of those 90s King of Fighters games, and the inputs are so strict. You have to really, really do the actual move. Whereas it just seems like you can just kind of roll your thumb around on a bloody pad or something like that with these new ones, and the move comes out.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely. But like, yeah, I mean, what's the percentage? 14.64. It felt like a 50% game, man. It was so fucking easy.
Okay.
But but anyway, yeah. Look, I can play fighting games, but I don't like to put the effort in most of the time, or I'll do them over several years because I just played so many in the 90s to the mid noughties. It was my favorite type of game. I would buy just every single one when they would come out. And I did that for the PS3 for ages until there were just too many Blaze Blues and Guilty Gears. And I don't want a light, medium, heavy system or whatever where it doesn't differentiate between punches and kicks. I think that's
Mm.
trash. And that's actually but the fuck that was in bloody Real Bout Fatal Fury. So that's not a new thing, but I don't like it at all. I want light punch, heavy punch, light kick, heavy kick. I want that system.
Mm.
So I don't really like these anime fighters, but I have them and I'll play them. And when I get over myself, I find that they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they're okay.
what I was
Yeah.
just thinking. It rules out basically every anime game ever made. But
Oh, well, yeah.
let's
The thing
move.
is, I mean, look, I've done. I hope no one gets offended by that because I've done a lot of bloody anime games, and I do the ones that don't come out in the West as well, like World Trigger Borderless Mission on the Vita and all the super obscure stuff. And look, I've got one coming right up that we can talk about here.
Oh, look,
But
I
before we,
don't think there's
yeah,
any offense at all. I mean, you're probably the only player I know that plays a wide range of these Japanese games that actually plays them. I mean, it's fantastic, that somebody does. So I don't think there's any offense taken there at all.
shit, someone's got to do it,
That's
I
right. That's
suppose.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
how would we know there's a game there with everyone else skipping it? But
Bloody hell! But I'm just looking here at the the list in chronological order, and I've got here the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls Viewing Revolution. It's a VR game, and I have the fastest time for that by about 5 minutes. But the thing about it is the trophy list is just watching some videos. I mean, you watch it it was ridiculous. It's like 100 videos or something. So I literally sat there on my phone babysitting it, but I was serious about babysitting it, and no one's beat my time yet, so that was fun.
I
Yeah,
appreciate. Now, look, I don't know if you're
mm,
coming back to this one or you glossed over
mm,
it. I see there's spam
mm.
there, but this you got further than me, but not much further. The Sisters Royale, the EU stack. Did you want to drop a little love on that, or?
Yeah, let's talk about that because that was the developer made this series Castle Shikigami, and I played
Mm,
Shikigami 1 to 3, and Shikigami 2 had a localization that was just hilarious with like the most awkward English imaginable, fully voiced, and it there were 6 characters to pick from, and if you played two-player, and I played a lot with my girlfriend at the time, or still, I played a lot with her because when the 2 characters would talk to each other and the dialogue was different. You got a different story with every combination of 2 characters. Amazing amount of
mm,
content with that,
mm.
and it was just like the lines were like the one I can remember. After you beat the first stage, one of them goes, "Still a bit green. I'm only 17." Just out of nowhere, just very weird stuff. Very, very weird stuff. And the actual game was pretty cool. You'd hold down your shot and you'd have this special attack kind of that could be anything, could be a homing attack, or it could be a sword that's very strong that spins around. And so some characters were very easy to use, some were very difficult to use. And Sisters Royal is basically that, but walking along on the ground, which doesn't honestly do much for me. And I think that overall, like I played it and I thought this is good, but it's also very, very mediocre.
Mm.
Um, so I probably played. Well, what did I do? I got my easy mode, no credit completion, like the first try, and then of course you try normal and hard, and there's a whole heap more shit, and it's got some things that I really am opposed to in vertical, especially in vertical scrolling shoot 'em up. It's got fucking environmental hazards and bloody wind that blows you one way and ice that makes you slip, and I think that's bullshit, mate. I just want to dodge bullets. I don't want to deal with that. But that's just me overplaying so many of these types of games and playing the most refined ones that had $1 million budgets that were actually released in the arcade. So I have a very, very high standard. And if you look at this compared to a lot of the shoot 'em ups, because the shoot 'em ups folder on my PS4 is about 70 something games strong right now. There's quite a lot on the system, but a lot of it are these, bloody amateur or dojin ones. Whereas this is an actual Japanese company that's made shoot 'em ups with a, what do you call it? No, sorry, mate. The word escapes me. Forget it. Yeah, it's
Mm.
with that. But anyway, I find it interesting that no one's actually put in the effort to learn the game. But the thing about it is, these trophies where they want you to get an S rank with every character. You have to play really well. I mean, you probably don't have to play that well if you do those on normal or hard. But if you did it on easy, I beat it without maybe losing more than a life or something, and that wasn't good enough to get an S rank for one of the characters because I didn't use the special shot enough. And in normal and I think in hard mode there are these treasure chests that spawn as well, and that's what really gives you your score. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was good, man. I mean, it was worth supporting. I don't know about 3 bloody stacks of this, but look, I would actually rather a trophy list like this with these shoot 'em
Mm.
ups where maybe I can't even get it, but it's challenging enough where if I wanted to go for it, it would be a pretty fun ride.
Yeah.
It would feel rewarding. I kind of would prefer that than some of the other ones because say I tried playing Full Blast, the Radalaka Full Blast all the way to
Mm.
the end.
Mm.
And because there was that guy on PSNP, the Australian bloke, who made that full of shit thread saying all these games are good, and his rant on Full Blast was so off the mark, hey.
Mm.
And what I found from doing Full Blast for 12 stages was that the game barely ever, it doesn't really get any harder. The bosses are completely monotonous. I didn't lose a single life until I got up to the last boss, and then the last boss threw a laser at me, and because of the way the game's designed, I couldn't dodge it. I'd never seen it. I wasn't expecting it, so I died. And then I powered down, and I
Mm.
sat there for about 7 or 8 minutes, just this boss was a bloody bullet sponge. Very hard to dodge what he's throwing at you because of the way it's done and this bloody large hitbox. So I ended up actually dying on that. After getting all the way without even dying, I died on that. And then I went, this game sucks, mate. But I fired it up again. And this time I picked easy to see if there was any difference. And the only difference is that the bosses take less time to go down. And in my opinion, a long boss fight in a shoot 'em up is actually bad design.
Mm.
It shouldn't really go for much longer than 2 or 3 minutes. It should just be an intense wall of bullets that you dodge, and that's what. But it's not in this. So yeah, that was fucking crap, mate. And I just thought, well, it would be okay if the trophy list made you play the whole game, but it would just mean that it would take an hour instead of 15 minutes. It was just a boring, monotonous slog. I mean,
Well,
I think it,
I think there's a
yeah.
lot to be said. I mean, we consistently hear
Mm.
this Ratalaika bashing or whatever, which is wonderful. Friends of the show, Ratalaika, thank you. Hopefully you don't make it this far, but I'm sure you won't. But maybe they're doing us a favor here, Reddy. Maybe they know that
They
it's only
are.
worth 15 minutes of your time, and they're trying to guide you gently to the exit.
Well, it's fun though. Funny though, when I did a spam pain recently, and we can get to that later. But I thought that Mecha Bolt game was quite good. It controlled well. It was quick. You didn't really need a guide. It made sense. It was the right kind of puzzle platformer for me, and it looked like a little DS game or something, which I thought was nice. But
Mm.
you only had to do half the game, and then I thought, what the fuck? I was actually enjoying that. They could make you play the whole game, and it wouldn't be too bad. What? It would take 40 minutes instead of 15 once again,
Mm.
and so I kept that on the Vita, and I think the next time I'm, sitting in the car waiting, for my lady to have an appointment or something, I'll just maybe fire that up and bloody play through. I actually thought that was good. So it's not all bad.
More power to you. I'm constantly amazed by the revelation that I read, and I'm told about that you can actually play beyond the platinum. You can finish the game if you so wish. Like it's unbelievable. Like I mean, you're going to feel the addiction around your neck slowly choking you out because you haven't got any digital reward for it. But it is possible, already, to actually finish these games if you so wish. You don't have to apply for a special permit. From the Gamer Institute of Trophies. It is a possibility to do that. So it's wonderful to hear that you're considering it. I love it,
Yeah.
but for me, as you know, that I don't play past the opening credits. It's wonderful for me to know there is a full game there as well because I do
Mm.
spruik them sometimes. So I'm glad that I'm justified in doing so.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about the publisher is that, it doesn't really do much for me getting the 90% platinums, but I'm not that bothered either. I just fucking like get over yourself, people. You know what I mean with those. So it's kind of if and they publish a lot of 2D stuff, and I like 2D, and so if I look at it, I just don't care after a while. I'm like, that looks kind of like I want to play it, like something that I would like to play. Like say, if we're going, scrolling around the old list, I've got the 0000. That was very good. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that, and I thought if I'd have bought that on the DS, I would have finished all the levels. That was just like a little DSiWare game. The sorts of things I used to buy like one of those a week just to have on the go, and there was even a good bit of music in there. I remember one of the tracks, enjoying one of those. So that was really cool. I liked that. But I was grateful you didn't have to finish it all because it probably would have taken a while with the randomized fucking part of it. That didn't thrill me much. But so they do publish a good game once in a while. I don't think I'm bashing them, but Full Blast in particular, like that goes back to my standards for shoot 'em up. It's trash, fucking so bad. Yeah.
No, there you go.
Anyway, just yeah, yeah. But yeah, moving on. Anyway, we've got Sengoku Otome Legend Battle, yeah, which is one of those Vita exclusive games that never left Japan. That's based on an anime that I haven't watched, and that I did that for a milestone. I think it was 350, and I've got a year, 6 month timestamp on it, right? But what happened was I played that when I was doing a trophy event, and I got up to this one part in the story mode where things just get inexplicably difficult. It's unbelievable. You fight the last boss, and she's constantly got super meter and just constantly like throws this unblockable thing. You can't. It's very hard to dodge. You can't block it. What I had to do, because I looked up Nico Nico video, which is the Japanese sort of YouTube, and that player was playing perfectly and did this air juggle, and it would have taken ages to practice that. But what I did was find a way to cheese that fight and sort of just locked the boss into a combo, and I was able to cheese it like that. But I banged my head
Mm.
up against a brick wall for maybe, I reckon like 2 or 3 hours on that one thing. And once I got that done, I asked it was an Australian player actually who platinumed it about the things that I had left, and he gave me some very good information. And but then I realized that I had a grind left and all the skill based stuff was done, so I just left it, man. I thought I'll do that one day, and it just might have been the right time, so I did the grind. It was pretty bad, eh? It was just literally playing the
Mm.
story mode 40 times or something like that. with the same character
Mm,
doing the
mm.
same move over and over again, because of course you're going to use the overpowered boss character. So what it came down to was just firing this cheeky laser that just went across the whole way of the screen and through buildings, just firing the laser remotely, standing back like a coward, building up the super meter, and then you press down, up, and two buttons, and you do a bloody super. And that was the whole thing, and I just had to do that for hours and hours and hours. So, yeah, I'm glad I got that done though. That's a good one.
I like that. Now, look, I'm going to interject there
Mm,
slightly if I can. I like to deviate, and it is a stream of consciousness, so we can. And at
of
this point,
course.
the listeners
Mm.
this week, I like it. They're going to have to try and keep up with us, which I think is about time. So, what I want to turn to here is you talked about reaching out to another player there for info. One of the great things is you're highly good value for finding out random facts about the instant games, as we've said, and how to finish them. In particular, you've helped me out many, many times. Now, one of my personal pet hates is when someone either doesn't return your message and you can't find out the information, or even worse is when they've somehow figured out how to do it. They've asked for help, they've figured it out, and then they don't proceed to tell anyone. And I noticed just recently, in fact, that you were playing the wonderful Ari Windstorm. You may have been
I just saw
affected
that.
or addled at this point, but why wouldn't you be in the German race, the German walking simulator on a horse?
Mm.
And you made a wonder, and we'll leave the name out because I am familiar with the gentleman. And you made the comment, and it's an interesting point that with a lot of these games, they're not mass played. There is no trophy guide, or never a trophy guide in English anyway. So you're piecing together a random piece of information from wherever. It is incredibly frustrating in these niche games where people don't share, but you do tend to share, don't you?
Oh shit, yeah. Yeah, it's policy. That's why I signed up to that forum, or any of the trophy forums, is to disseminate information. And before I'd even signed up there, I had a bloody text file with how to do this. I think the first one I did was Crow's Burning Edge, just absolutely terrible beat 'em up on PS4. It was a cancelled Vita game, got ported with no optimization, and I just thought, oh man, I can't believe I put myself through this. If anyone else wants to, maybe I can make it easier on them. That's sort of what I feel like.
Mm.
And it's so funny that you saw you saw me bitching about that, because at the time I was so drunk and high, and I had my mobile up, and yeah, and I was following it, and I ran, the map was cropped, right? And I mean, there was nothing wrong with that map. It was fine, there's nothing wrong with that guide either. It
Mm.
was just this one thing, and it didn't really stuff me around for longer than maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and it was because of the state that I was in. But I just remember like being annoyed, and I looked it up kind of, and I found that thread, and then I saw that person made a double post and bloody well edited their post, and I just thought, bloody fucking see you next Tuesday. And then I like that, and then the next day, I thought I was still thinking about it. And I thought that's terrible, man, and I know we can't name and shame people on that
No.
forum, but I'm just gonna put in a little thing to just say, hey. It's not a very good attitude. How about being a bit helpful next time? They could have very easily just described it, even if they were posted on their phone, which is what I said. But I idiot-proofed the thread, and I bloody well posted a picture of it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and then a little description in case that picture goes down in the future. But I
Yeah.
just couldn't believe it. And I think, what did I say? I said with an attitude like that, they're probably lying in the gutter. And I left out the needle in the arm, but I was going to say that, begging people for gold coin donations. I just think that's fucking garbage. Why would you edit your post out saying I got it? No one fucking cares that you got it, buddy. You know what I mean? What a useless, worthless fucking post. I thought, should I report that? I wonder if they delete it if I report it. It's just so redundant. But anyway, sorry, man. It just winds me up, especially like you said, with the niche things where there's not much information. I feel like it's almost the responsibility of the person who bloody plays that to fucking at least say, hey, this, and that, and the other. Like
Yeah.
why? It's not even about bloody. And the thing is, these games with very few players, a lot of the time I'll get them, and some of the trophies will be ultra rare. But if I do the like same the Medusa game, that VR thing that I wrote the trophy guide for, that
Mm.
was ultra rare for a while, and then one other person did it, who was this German player with like every VR game that I've messaged me on PSN once I helped out with something else, and that person did it, and then it became very rare instead of ultra rare, and all I thought of when I saw that was, oh, that's nice. I hope he used my guide. You
Mm.
know.
Mm.
So yeah, I really don't give a shit. But this happens to me a lot. I lose a lot of ultra rares over this, and
Mm.
I don't give a fuck about that either. And sometimes it works out the other way.
Mm.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like with Siberia Delta, where I posted a bloody thread about all this stuff, how you can cheese it and everything, and it's still a 3% platinum, and I don't get it. In my opinion, it's like a very easy shoot 'em up list. But I don't know what's. Oh no, I do know what's happened. The DLC ship that you can cheese the things with really easily isn't available in the. In fact, I don't think the game's available in the American store or some shit like that.
Mm.
Something happened, right? And I just, because I was an early adopter, I had the limited edition. I got the DLCs. Like my situation made it easy for me anyway. And perhaps I was thinking that it was easier than it really is or something. I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah.
But I bloody posted like pretty specific information about something, and this fucking person made a fucking thread about it. And once again, I tried not to be a dick, but I was like, really, is that information I posted not good enough? I fucking said the stage, I said the bloody thing, and then I said I'm not 100% because I wasn't 100%. I played that game during an event, and it was very hazy, and I did it casually. But I just can't believe when people don't read stuff, man.
Mm.
Hey,
It
you know
is.
what I mean?
It is. I know it sounds passionless, but it is frustrating because it isn't the option of just going to another site on the internet to look up information.
Oh,
It's almost a win when you see someone playing. And
mm.
I mean, I have a I have a wonderfully disjointed relationship with the wonderful trophy spammer Ike Menzies, and he plays obviously as a fluent in Japanese, so he understands all these games. And from time to time, I'll send a message to gain some information. And like with many of these top trophy hunters, Ferrogen in particular too, very, very helpful. Not on the forums, but privately, very, very helpful until they don't want to be, and then their English is not very good. So he's one of the wonderful players that can send you, half a page message in English, perfect grammar, and then in 3 weeks' time, oh no, I don't know no English for this game. So but that's
Nice.
it is frustrating all the way around. I know. But sorry to hijack you there. Let's carry on.
Oh well, look, we can put a positive spin on the same subject because and this is going like further up the list now, but yeah, the Indian account that I made, right? And I
Mm.
think you can get this game on the UAE store as well. But what I got was Ra One the game, which is based off a movie,
Mm.
and I think and it's a Bollywood movie, and I think the movie is about a game. Believe it or not. Yeah, so it's
Inception. I
it's
love it.
yeah, we're getting very meta here, but
Mm.
what it is it was a PS2 and a PS3 game, and it looks a little bit like a PS1 game, and it's an arena fighter where the characters all move about twice as fast as they should. The AI programming is absolutely infuriating because they'll relentlessly chase you down. You can't be passive at all. They'll relentlessly chase you down. If you just take your hand off the controller, you'll die in seconds, right? But when so you have to kind of run away from them because they'll get you in a combo otherwise, or something, or they'll hit you. But as soon as you turn the tides and go to attack them, they'll run away from you. And I think that when you're playing a beat 'em up, like the enemies running away is probably my most hated mechanic, and it's an integral feature of this bloody game. And it's funny, right? Because there was one trophy, just one that I couldn't figure out. And I think 8 people had completed it. One of them was Hakum, and the others were just people I hadn't seen before. But I couldn't figure out the last trophy, right? And I looked on the recent players list, and this German guy had done it, a few months ago, and I saw that he was an active person there. And so I was just like, "Oh man, do you reckon do you reckon you remember anything? Anything would help?" And I'm like, "I can tell you how to get the other trophies." And he said he started off with, "I don't remember," but then he had sort of specific info, and his info was sound. It was very good. I got the trophy, and I happily
Yeah.
told him how to get the ones he needed. And I thought that's a great little exchange that we had there. But
Yeah.
I've got a text file here, and I could do a trophy guide for it now. But
Mm.
um, it's a bit like with that Gun Gun Pixies game where I think, do I really want to put people through this? Because you have to play the whole game, and then you have to play the whole challenge mode. And then you have to like load up a 2-player game and do a few things in that too. And even though it's kind of you don't have to deal with the horrible AI this time around for those, it's a pain in the ass to set up because you're relying on random drops for some of them. And the trophy descriptions are incredibly vague, man. I have no idea how I figured one out, right? Check this out. I'll just give you an example, right? Mind control, right? Defeat an opponent by impanting, yeah, impanting, and running them into a mine. That's the description. So what you have to do is wait for a gun that shoots mines. You put the mines down. Then you have to whittle the opponent's health down because the mines only do like 2 hit points damage or something. And then here's the part that I just can't believe this part, right? You have to find a gun that makes them walk around, you know, uh, they've got no control over it, so it makes the character just stumble around. And then they run into the mines, and then you get the trophy, and that was the ultra rare trophy, which is now very rare because I earned it. But how are you supposed to figure that out from defeat an opponent by impanting and running them into a mine? How are you supposed to figure that? I have no idea how I figured that out, but it took me about 2 hours,
I
which is
love
not
that.
anything to be proud of. I was so happy to tell that guy how to get that trophy, man. I just thought, save someone 2 hours. It's good. It's altruistic.
It really
Mm,
is. Now, before we
mm,
move on from this raw one, because I'd never heard about this until you mentioned it the other day. I mean,
mm.
not everybody, not our average listenership for sure, would wake up in the morning and decide to create an Indian PSN account. You're obviously hunting this game. What was it? What was the reasoning behind it? You've explained what it is, but why? What did it mean to you?
I found out about it ages ago. It was released in 2011. Can you believe that? Like almost 10 years, and less than 10 people have done this bloody game.
Mm,
But the reason is because my PS3 collection, is kind of has I tried to curate it so that it's got almost everything that's kind of notable. I've got my Aquanauts English, I've got my Africa, and all that good stuff. And I think there was a thread on PSNP about rare PS3 games. I just grabbed a bunch out and took a little happy snap, and some people were surprised it was an initial D game, and I thought, oh, this is kind of nice. And it got me thinking. I'm like, Ra 1, yeah, because a bunch of people, including actual Indian people, like my co-workers, they'll go to India. They'll be like, "You want anything from India?" And I'm like, "I want Ra 1 the game," and I'll ask, and they can't get it. They weren't able to get it in India
mm,
you know.
mm,
And so I've never been able to get my hands on a copy. And when it fronts up on eBay, it's about $100 or more, and which is absolutely not worth it. And then, of course, in my recalcitrance throughout the years, I never even contemplated just making a bloody digital account and doing that. But come on, man, like $15 versus $100. Um, so yeah, I just went, yeah, let's do it. It's time. It's time to fucking play R1.
it all aligns. I like it. I like it. Good. Well, let's move. Where are we heading next?
Oh, all right. Now, I only fucking like when I was looking through the list last night, I came on this Dancing Beauty Idol project, which is, exclusive to the Hong Kong store. It's a Chinese-made VR rhythm game.
Mm,
And I thought that the trophies were bugged. But you know what happened? I think my reading comprehension was just piss poor at the time, right?
mhm,
Because where's this one? It's like S rank or higher in 3 songs in hard training mode, and in brackets they've got some Chinese there, or is it Japanese? Who knows, man? Yeah. So what I did was try to cheese that by S ranking the first song 3 times, because actually this is not actually an easy rhythm game. You really have to move around,
mm,
and these shapes come really fast at you, and you have to move your arm to trace the shapes with your bloody little ball of light on the move control. It's difficult, eh?
mm,
And it's not passive at all. It's just like, oh my God, it's a bit of a workout. But I managed to, and hard mode is hard. I managed to do. I could S rank 2 songs anyway, and I did them so many times, and I could have sworn that the trophies for the other difficulties in the S rank popped by doing the same song, right?
mm.
But I must have been tripping, and I'm pretty sure that they're telling you what songs to play here, and I hope I don't load the game up and find out that I'm full of shit here. But it looks like they've listed 3 songs, so all higher in 3 songs. It must be these 3 specific ones. So I'm gonna have to look up what those songs are, match up these bloody foreign characters that I can't read, and give that a go.
This was
Which means that, yeah,
sorry to check. This was an interesting game because
yeah,
I picked this. I assume you did as well. I picked this, as you said, on the Hong Kong store. It was very cheap at the time, and
yeah,
I'm gonna say I see you played it in 2020, but it came out. It was 2018. I think I got onto it, and at the time, it was one of the first VR rhythm games. I suppose there weren't a lot of VR rhythm, well before Beat Saber and all this other stuff had come through, and it is good. I enjoyed it. Like, I mean, admittedly, I didn't, bother with the trophy list per se. I just mucked around with it, but it's actually, I mean, I assume it is very hard by looking at the percentages, but I actually found it quite good. So if you're into rhythm games, particularly VR, and as you say, it's all, you are the controller, your body or whatever. This is
mm,
worth a look, and I don't know the price now, but I remember at the time it was very cheap, very reasonable. So I'm sure it still is.
At full price, it's 15-20 bucks. It's really
Yeah, that's right.
reasonably priced.
Mm.
And it's a good game. I was surprised, eh? I actually thought it was really good. But because I thought the trophies glitched, I just have left it for that long. And the
Mm.
whole time I could have actually been grafting and practicing those hard mode songs,
Yes.
trying to get my S ranks. But this one here, obtained
You'll have to
SSS
turn off
rank.
Just Dance for a while and move back to the
Well, I don't have any of those, so this is my and that's the thing, man. I was like dancing a bit, and I thought, oh, I hope no one comes in and sees me doing this. But but yeah, this triple S rank in any song 60 times on normal, that is going to be a grind, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Now that I've actually got a renewed enthusiasm with this, I think I'm gonna have to hit it up now that I've seen that it's probably just those specific songs that they let you do for the S rank. So that's good.
I think it's a good one to go. Did you play? We're sidetracked again, listeners, but why
Mm.
not? Staying with VR and rhythm games, dance games. The Hatsune game that came out recently. I don't know if you touched that. It had a lot of
Shit,
DLC.
shit. No, I haven't.
And
Thanks for reminding me.
well, I'll preface it with a warning because that's very difficult. Because the problem is that they've got speakers in the game, animated in the game, and some of the directions, the prompts actually come at you from behind the speakers, so you don't see them till literally the last second of it hitting you, which makes the game incredibly cheap. And the only reason I bring it up is, I mean, I'm sure you'd enjoy it, and Human Octopus State blazed up, but for your average gamer, like something like this Dance Project Idol, it's much fairer, or at least I found it to be fair, in that you could see what was happening. It was very clear and coming to you, as opposed to the Hatsune recent VR rhythm game.
Yeah, although hard mode though. Oh mate,
Yes, well, you
I
don't
tell
have
you.
to do that.
Oh mate, it is just yeah. No, that's good. It's good that it lives up to its name. I don't really
Mm,
mind moving around once in a while, you know.
mm,
So maybe I'll try. I reckon I'll revisit that one next
nice.
time I can be bothered setting up the VR.
Mm,
Um, But hey, right after that, right, I hit up Uppers again. This game, Uppers. This was supposed to come out in the West, and then it didn't. And then it was supposed to come out on the West on the PS4, and it didn't. And I kind of understand why, because I mean, it looked like it was all, blokes fighting. I think it's from the Senran Kagura people.
okay.
And you think it would be all manly testosterone fueled, but it's not, man. It's all for the girls in the audience asking you to beat someone up a certain way so that you can get a fucking panty lottery going. And it has the most unreasonable, grindiest, bloody panty-based trophy imaginable, man. Eh? Like it's just ridiculous. So what I did was I finished the actual game. I had a few stages left. I finished the actual game, and I can be pretty happy with that. And if I'm feeling masochistic sometime in the future, maybe I'll hit it up and do some panty lottery. But yeah, it's quite a good game, eh? But I just think they really ruined it with all the grind.
I've never heard of. Is this Vita or PS4? I see it says in the list here
It's
PS4 and Vita.
Vita.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's
Vita.
and there's supposed to be a PS4 port, but it was
Oh,
announced years ago. It's still, I think it's still TBA. But honestly, like I mean, it's total fan service, and I just think that fan service seems to be on the way out.
Well,
You
with
know.
Sony, it appears to
Hmm.
be on the way out. Yes.
Well, I kind of hoped that maybe we'd get some more interesting, the older style of Japanese games that we saw on the PS2 pre-fan service, like Disaster Report and everything. But all that we've really gotten is Disaster Report, which is great and everything. But oh, isn't it funny when you had that guy on that did the bloody guide for it?
Mm.
And I thought, oh, that's mad. Yeah. And then I thought, oh, cool. I could maybe use this for my Japanese version. There's an English guide. But no, because it's not one of the ones that holds your hand. I actually need the one that holds your hand.
Yes, yeah,
But
you're of course referring to Sean there. Yes, yeah, that's
mm.
right. Yeah.
Oh mate, and just I'm gonna think about that guy every time I go past because I remember I was just spamming like mad when this milestone came up, and one of my milestones is the Japanese version of Data Live,
Oh yes.
which I skipped for it was about 6 hours worth of skipping, eh?
Reincarnation. Yes. Yeah.
Fucking hell. So yeah, I'll definitely spare a thought for that guy. I won't complain about the 6 hour skip when he did 100 hours and transferring notes through his phone. Man, that's dedication, eh? That was wild.
That was
So
really
yeah.
wild. And I mean, it's interesting because,
Mm.
admittedly, you play most of your games, but occasionally, as you've alluded to, you skip there. But what is so interesting, as you mentioned about those guides, are that they don't hold your hand. And I know that frustrates many people, but looking for the quickest path. But for some of these VNs, that I know you wouldn't have got to it yet, it may interest you in the future. This Buried Sands that came out a couple of weeks ago, you know the problem with these games are that, like, this one in particular is interesting because the first playthrough doesn't matter, so you may as well read it, you're going to be
Yeah.
playing it 4 times. And it's just wonderful to have a guide for games like that. I'm thinking Will a Wonderful World. I don't know if you ever got to that yet, but
I
games
own it.
yeah, games like this that aren't your standard, VN, you probably they're too long to skip. They're quicker ones if you're going to do that. But if you're going to read, guides like that are really interesting, and you do start to see the amount of divergence and paths and just the work that goes into it. So interesting, yeah, it is interesting.
I definitely, yeah, I definitely had some respect for that. That
Yes,
was full on.
interesting.
Yeah.
not,
So,
not for either of us, I think, but yeah.
well, maybe not. I want the numbers. I just want the numbers. I'll bloody copy them to a little thing with a pen and cross them out when I go along.
Hmm.
Perfect. Perfect, mate.
Well, I think you subscribe to the school ready, similar to me, that there's no fucks given. I mean, the amount of time to create
Mm,
something, a guide in this nature, is just too much. So you will give points, perhaps, but we're not going to, we're not going to put it all down in writing.
yeah,
But it's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, we're getting up to the PS3 now.
I've been looking forward to it.
So my PS3 Slim, I wanted to self boost all of these games, all these online things that I had, and mostly fighting games, yeah. But what happened was my Slim was sort of looked like it was on the way out, and then it really decided it was on the way out. So I thought, well, what's the path of least resistance here? I'll play Cashie's Roulette, which means you go to cash converters and you just keep buying the consoles until you get one that actually works. And that never worked for me with the original Xbox. I remember playing Cashier's Roulette with that, and I bought maybe three or four of them, and every single one was buggered. And so I've got an Xbox, original Xbox collection with Fatal Frame and Shenmue 2 and a few cool things that I can't really do anything with because I was never able to find a working system. But for this, I went in there. There were two PS3s. There was a Slim and a Super Slim, 500 gig for about $60 and $70 respectively. So I picked both of them up, and I went home. And the Super Slim worked perfectly, and the regular Slim had no Wi-Fi and no Bluetooth, so you couldn't connect a wireless controller to it, which means that it was probably hacked. So I took that right the fuck back and exchanged it for another Slim, which had come in the meantime, and that one acted like it was going to work. I spent a whole day putting all my accounts on there and downloading the games I wanted to boost, and then it decided it was on the way out. So I bloody well took that back and decided, well, my 60 gig US PS3 still works. I guess I'm just going to keep on with that. And it's kind of sad, I don't want to push that past its bloody, time and use it for such a scummy kind of thing, but hey, why not? I paid $700 for it, and I thought that was a good deal at the time.
Mm.
So better get my $700 worth, I
Exactly,
suppose.
exactly.
Yeah, but this Super Slim PS3 is fantastic with the 500 gig. I can actually download 3D games. I was never able to do that before on my 60 gig.
Mm.
And so I started a bit of a campaign of self boosting, and I got a lot of ultra rare trophies out of it. And it just the
Wonderful.
irony of that, because those ultra rare trophies were less effort than some of the 90%
Mm.
platinums. It was
Mm.
just
Well, that's a well-known fact amongst ultra-rare hunters. We've explored that before.
yeah, they're definitely not all made equal.
That's right.
Um, so, why not? I'll take them and everything. I
Mm.
really just wanted to get these done, but I got no less than 10 PS3 games done, and I got some super obscure ones done, like the Koihime Muso games, which are I think it was based off some hentai thing. It was a hentai version of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So, they're all Nobunaga and stuff, but they're all girls and all women,
Isn't it
maybe.
wonderful we live in a
And
world that exists?
well, I don't know if I'd describe it that way, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember it was funny because I remember you were playing Kanagawa Jet Girls at the time, and you were saying, "Man, these Japanese menus." And I sent you a screenshot of the Koihime Enru thing, which was about 10 menus, 100% Japanese, and that's what I've got to work with when I'm self-boosting the online. Sometimes it's a struggle to figure out how to start the boost in the first place and everything.
Mm.
But I fired up this Battle Fantasia, which I bought for $5 forever ago, and I have the Asian English version of physical, which doesn't have any trophies. And it's what a 0.63% platinum because of this one trophy that you have to parry 23 times in a row and then defeat the boss on the hardest difficulty without dying.
Mm.
And people recommend to do this pause trick, and I actually got a bunch of, I think I did like 7 parries when I tried it out a couple of times. I did about 7 parries in real time, and when I stopped to try the pause trick, I couldn't do bloody two. It was what the fuck? I don't understand these pause tricks, man. They're crap. They don't work. But the majority I'm at 90% trophies on that. I got two left, and one of them's a grind, which I don't really want to do, and the other one's that hard trophy. And everything else was piss easy, and they're like mostly ultra rare trophies. So I know it was a PS Plus game, but I thought those were the easiest ultra rares I've ever bloody earned. Battle Fantasia,
And
yeah,
0.63
yeah.
completion. Yeah, I see. Interesting.
But yeah, one day I might get a metronome out and try and do that parry trophy because I have the technique for killing the boss without dying. That's fine. It's it's just practice, but I don't care as well because whatever. But
That is
something
always
of note here.
Mm.
But something to note here is this Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that I got done in just under 5 hours, which is a delisted game that I bought it when it came out, and then I thought, oh, the thing is, I slogged through it on the Dreamcast and PS2, and in those versions, at least on the Dreamcast, at the very least, you have to unlock every character, and there's about 60 characters. Not every character, a lot of characters, and I did that. So, and I'd played a lot of it two-player, when mates come around. I'd played so much of it, but yeah, I think I needed to leave it for a decade or something. But I fired it back up, self-boosted it, got it done in like 4 hours, and there's 1,000 achievers of that, and I made I got in the top 10 fastest achievers, so that was good, eh? That was
That's
nice.
impressive.
And I still ran into a random playing it. All these years later, this delisted game still ran into a random.
I love these outliers that are still there, They're trapped. They've been waiting for years for someone to play with them ready. They finally run into somebody and they find they're self-boosting, and they get kicked. I mean, it's just devastating for them.
They're just Brazilians, man.
Yes.
But they're always just Brazilians, and I always fight them, and it's always super laggy. And I always think, man, this would be so much fun if I didn't have this lag. And I know it's not me now because I have NBN. So there you go. There you bloody go. But I did the same thing with the PS4 Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. I prepped all the saves. I had my two things for self-boosting, and I had the fastest time for about a week. And I remember posting about it. I'm like, yeah, I got the fastest time, but it could be optimized much better if you weren't so lax as I am. And then, what do you know, man? Like a week later, this Brazilian beats my time by about half an hour.
Wow.
I think that's fine.
I'll never forget we were talking to Hakum about that, and he's like, "There's no point being the fastest achiever because you'll always get past. You want to be the first achiever, which is wonderful for Hakum because he gets games 2 months earlier than everybody else. But
Yeah.
it's a valid point, isn't it? There is always some bastard out there that has got you by a minute, even if they haven't yet. They have. It's wonderful.
But I feel like I'm always going to have my fastest time on Idolmaster Cinderella Girls Viewing Revolution because, I mean, like, I had that babysitting down pat. I optimized that. I did I did the longest song first. So I got the trophy for listening to the longest song 3 times first, which means the other songs that's how I did my optimization. Fucking ridiculous, though. Anyway, yeah, so
now, can I throw one at you here? I think you're going to get to it, but I have the attention span of a gnat, so I've seen it here, and now I must ask. This game interests me a lot. I almost pulled the trigger on it myself, but the pricing turned me off, which is ironic.
Oh, Nightfall.
Yes, because ironically, nothing else has turned me off with pricing before, but for some reason this did. And then at the time, no one finished it and stuff, but I see you have finished it. What is this like? Is it any good or not?
No, it's German. So it kind of the lighting's bad and it crashed on me a lot from doing nothing and just essentially it's an ultra walking simulator with an ultra rare bloody trophy list
Yes.
and the reason this game spoke to me, this trophy list, aside from the fact that, hang on, I'll just bring it up now. Sex addict, trigger the vibrator 25 times. Or what is it? Oh no, typical gamer, take the pizza out of the oven burned. So it has some funny trophies, but then I went down here and we've got retro gamer, retro master, retro king, score this amount of points in these retro games, and then I found a like little YouTube thing, and they look like Atari games or something that are very very retro, and I just thought, yeah, really. Very interested in it for that reason alone, and so I looked at it and I balked at the fucking price, mate, $44. But when it got a price drop, and I think it's permanently price dropped to 17, and at that point I just went, it's time. No one had done it, and oh mate, those retro games, you first have to play the story enough to get the cartridge to put the bloody cartridge in, and then you have to stand back from you're playing it, in first person and you're looking at the TV, but you kind of how do I explain it? You have to get the angle on the TV right.
Mm,
There's no zooming in on the thing or anything. You sort of you just have to kind of move with the camera and everything. And I think I ended up playing it on a tilt or something like that. But you know, so you're seeing the actual game, and you're actually looking at a TV screen in the game while you're playing this, and you have to play these awful kind of retro games for maybe an hour straight or more with no reprieve. You can't pause it. You can't bloody well do anything.
mm,
And if you get the highest, you know, because there are three tiers of point score for the trophies, if you get the highest one first, the other earlier ones won't unlock. You'll have to play it, and yeah, mate, yeah. So I didn't mind Phoenix, which was a 2D shoot 'em up, which was a bit like Space Invaders or Phoenix. It's spelled PHEENYX, not PHEO. But yeah, there was a 2D shoot 'em up called Phoenix back in the day, and so it's like that. That was okay, that was just 2D shooting. It was very basic, but that's my thing. It's fine. But this Fragman was like Pac-Man, except it was difficult to get the diagonals going. You kind of had to grind it, and I ended up having to grab my Cronus Max out and bloody use a PS3 joystick. I've got a really good joystick.
mm,
I had to use it for Fragman. There was no way that was getting done. My thumb would just die, and it was horrible otherwise. But yeah, man, that game was nasty, and I posted up a big thread about it, right?
mm,
Because one of these trophies where it says collect all the where is it? It's the discs. Yeah, 14 demos. There aren't 14 demos. There are 12,
mm.
and it took me a while to figure this out. It took me a couple of bloody chapter select replay type things. Oh man. So anyway, once what happened was that I hadn't put the demos on for long enough, and some of them take a while to load because it's on a Commodore 64, and I played a Commodore 64 when I was bloody 6 years old, I think.
Mm.
Around about that time was when I was first getting into it, and that was one of my first systems that I played on, and it did take a while to load things, admittedly, but yeah, so it's just the wrong kind of accuracy.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, look, I posted up a big thread about it, and I made probably the most tasteless joke I'll ever make. Because the game's about this clown who was sort of grooming the kids in
Mm.
the neighborhood and then filming what they were doing, which is just like not even unsettling. It
Mm.
kind of made me a bit nauseous when I was going through and reading the bloody notes. And one of the notes had this this tricycle that cost, I can't remember how much, but I went and looked at an inflation calculator, and it was thousands of dollars for this tricycle, and I thought, what the fuck? And then in the note it was like, come around to my place and play or film some videos or something. I was just like, fuck this, hey. Um, and then I said, in the thread, I said it's like a John Wayne Gacy style villain. And then I said, if you don't know who John Wayne Gacy is, he's the guy who did the artwork for Acid Baths When the Kite String Pops, which is true, but pretty tasteless joke. I,
Mm.
I, I don't think I'll ever top that one, eh?
Mm. I think that's putting it out
But
there.
anyway,
It's interesting. Look, I've just got to ask though, because you alluded there is some sort of a story to a degree in this game.
yeah.
Do those retro games with the trophies there? Are they sort of side things within it, or do they actually? You said you had to spend an hour there. Are they actually locked into the progression of the game? You have to do.
Oh no, no, absolutely. You don't have to touch them. No, you can just. But I can't say you can. Pardon me. I can't say that you can just enjoy the story. Because I just don't I no, I can't think of anybody who would enjoy that. It's yeah, and maybe you're not supposed to, and I think it's fine that there are games where you're not supposed to enjoy what's going on. It's just like if you watch Romper Stomper, you're not supposed to throw up Roman salutes and go, yeah, fucking VX. You're supposed, well, you can be satisfied when they all get together and bash the skinheads. But you're not supposed to. It doesn't glorify it. And I was talking to this bloke in California one time was playing GTA with who watched Romper Stomper. He's like, it's the worst thing ever. And I said to him, dude, you're not supposed to enjoy those parts.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Well, most of my favorite films and stuff have a miserable ending, and they're not fun. A lot of games that I like are like that too. Uh, you know, Perhaps we'll talk about Deadly Premonition later, but I could completely spoil the ending. But what you have to do to progress the game at the end is very fucking sad, in my opinion, and it gets me every single time. You know? Oh my
Well,
God.
I think
Mm.
I think that's valid. I think it's a well, not a misdirection, but it's a misunderstanding of art if you feel
Mm,
that it's supposed to create a euphoric or a positive mood. I mean, art at its essence is supposed to create a reaction. It
mm,
doesn't define what type of reaction. That'll be defined by you and your personal circumstance of life. That
yep,
that is art.
yep.
But yeah, no, there's a place for everything, of
Mm.
course. I mean, we're just living in a Disney utopia, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
other viewpoints are always valid. Look, you've dropped it, and I know you want to talk about the Deadly Premonition predominantly because I have to play it, and I am dragging my feet on it. I have it downloaded though, but we'll talk about it here because you've done the Japanese version as well
Mm.
now recently, and you're telling me this is a much bigger endeavor because it's got everything or something.
Well,
It's the full blown.
shit, mate. I mean, I thought so, right? Because the first
Oh.
the first time I played it in Japanese was Red Seed's Profile, and that version's much worse. It looks
Mm,
worse, the frame rate's worse, if you can imagine that. And what else? It was harder, and I could have played Red Seeds on easy, but I had an attitude back in the day of default difficulty only, so I played it on normal, and which means that the wall crawlers had a bit more health, and I had to use a flamethrower for them, and I think I had to come up with a strategy of when they were hanging off the wall to sort of run, turn around, and get them. But in director's cut, you don't have to worry about it. They're fine, mate. They're fine.
mm,
Yeah, so that was a big choke point in the original Deadly Premonition was the wall crawlers. A lot of people just could not handle that. Oh, oh, mate, and the quick time events. The quick time events at the end of Red Seeds were just horrible. You were getting chased and you'd have to bloody left and right on your controller like that, you're just smashing it. I don't know if you can hear that. You're just
mm,
smashing left and
mm,
right while you were bloody running away from something, and then you had to do maybe a 4 or 5 button QuickTime event, and if you missed it 2 or 3 times, you have to restart it. Oh my god! But you don't have to do that. The QuickTime events are maybe 2 buttons in Deadly
mm.
Premonition Director's Cut. It's so much fairer. So the Japanese was okay because nowadays, I don't think I had this when I played Red Seeds. Nowadays, someone has come up with this guide that has the timed quiz answers, and I didn't realize I'd forgotten. My memory was so hazy. I thought the timing was on the answers, but it's on the questions. So you just have to quickly note what question. No, you don't even have to do that. Actually, you don't have to do that. You just have to look at the answer, and then you've got as much time as you want to find the answer in the little um, the little table that was outlined in the guide. So I had no issue with it, but the issue I did have was that I wanted a good time, so I had to beat 5 days, which was easy enough. But I couldn't skip the cutscenes. This is one of those games, of a handful where I just adore the cutscenes. I'm a big cutscene skipper. I'm a big advocate for it. I think if they haven't spent the time to make an engaging story, they don't deserve my time. So
Mm.
if I'm playing a AAA or something, I usually skip the cutscenes because it's just vacuous dross most of the time, in my opinion. But this, oh my god, yeah, I could not skip the cutscenes, so it took me a bit longer, and I hammered the shit out of it, and it took me 3 days and a bit. But if I'd have skipped all the cutscenes, I think I could have done it in maybe 2 sessions or 2 days or something like that.
Okay.
Because
Well,
I was just going to say that there's an early thing that there's early optimizations that you have to do. You have to go and get that fast travel item. You have to get the infinite wrench, and then once you've done that, everything is peachy.
let's put a bow on that game in particular because I will get to that in the next month or so. I think we'll put a bit of content together when I do because you're obviously an expert on that game and it's going to be an experience by the sound of it for me. But I look
Yeah,
forward to that.
I mean, yeah, well, now that I've had a refresher, and I mean, it turns out I didn't forget that much anyway. And you know what? It was even better than I remember. I thought actually I might go. It was even better. Like I just love it so much. I actually don't think I'm not even going to call that a bad game. I think it's functionally sound for the most part. It's just good. I think it's just good. There are a lot of horror games that play so much worse than that I enjoyed as well on the PS1 and PS2. There's nothing wrong with Deadly Premonition, mate. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just the frame rate's a bit dodgy. The map kind of sucks, and if you go to use a weapon besides the wrench, it's not very enjoyable. But you know, apart from that, no, it's a good game. But we could do a
I,
creep
I think
dive if you
I
ever
think we
decide
I
you
think we
are going to play it.
I think we will. Yes, yes, yes. There's many of those games hanging around my neck at the moment, so don't worry. So we'll get there. Now look, then you went on this wonderful Spanish run. I want to ask you about one of these games here, the Casebook of Arcady
Mm.
Smith. I played this a little while ago. How did you come across this game? Because it's a bit of a I would have thought this game may have disappeared by now, but obviously not.
It was well, it was similar to the Nightfall where I saw that there was a trophy for scoring points in a retro thing,
Ah,
and
yes. Yeah.
I had to, when it gets fast, I had to stare at it and kind of let my eyes go out of focus like I was looking at a Magic Eye picture. I don't know if you remember Magic Eye,
Mm-hmm.
the old computer generated images where you'd kind of stare at them for a bit and a 3D image would form. But it reminded me of that, eh? That mini game wasn't that great,
No. No.
but you know, it just interested me for that. And then when I checked out the actual game, I thought, oh, this actually kind of looks cool. And it was pretty good. I actually
Yeah.
didn't mind that. I'm surprised at this 35 point bloody whatever percent, pardon me, rarity because it's easy, isn't it? I did it in one. I
Mm.
think I did it in one sitting, so I'm surprised by that actually, because it's
Yeah.
actually a pretty decent game, and it's basic and everything, but it's good for what they did. It just felt like they made the most of what they had, whatever limited resources they had, and they actually turned out like kind of an engaging game. Like I didn't mind the investigative parts either. Yeah, that's good shit, mate. I'd recommend that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for one with the big red, if you need any help with that game, of course, friend of the show Zeta or VP has written a walkthrough guide as well for that game. So
Oh yeah, I used that. So thanks for that to old mate in Finland. Yeah, shit, yeah.
perfect. Now, the next one I'm going to ask about because I started this game, then it was glitched. Now I believe it has been it's been fixed since that time. It's a hilarious game. It's perfect for both of us. I feel the humor is exactly in line with us. Of course, the Freedom Finger game. Did
Mm.
you stop playing it when it was glitchy, or did you come back to it after? I'm not sure.
Oh, well, I finished it, the
Mm,
main story, and I thought that was brilliant. And then I tried the Beat Heaven. You have to do that without dying. And what was the other hard trophy? It was beat the boss or something.
mm,
Without getting hit. And what I found was I just thought, where the fuck is the hitbox on this ship? And then I felt like the game fell apart a little bit when I tried to do that, and maybe didn't quite control as well as I thought it did. But that might just be me, and I've been thinking about it a lot. I should go back to it. Um, but let's talk about the licensed soundtrack. I think that's probably the best licensed soundtrack I've ever heard in a game.
mm,
Because a lot of the time I'll think about GTA Vice City had Slayer's Raining Blood if I remember correctly. That was pretty good. But when I think about licensed soundtracks, it's usually very mainstream stuff,
mm.
And this I saw a preview for it and I was like, Easy Tiger, are you for fucking real, mate? I know about Easy Tiger because I like country teasers and they did a split LP with Easy Tiger. And so I was familiar with that, even though it's pretty underground or whatever. Um, but I wasn't familiar with that Drab Majesty band, and I think it was the Third World or something when it starts off with that song, The Foyer.
Mhm.
And it's like, I guess it's funny because like, my girlfriend likes old gothic music as well, and I love that stuff. And I turned to her and I was playing it, and I go, "Do you think this is overproduced?" And she's like, "Yeah." It really is. And I kind of feel like maybe if I dubbed it on a recycled tape and just listened to that, that might be better.
Mm.
But what a brilliant track. But at the same time, I was kind of listening to it and I'm like, what is this? You want to keep me in the foyer part? And I swear he just like it's a weird thing to hear, a weird line. And I swear he just did the foyer thing so he could follow it up with, "Is there a room in your heart tonight to take me away?" It's, it's just, which is really clever, but at the
Mm.
same time, it's the awkwardness of that line. You want to keep me in the foyer. Oh man,
Mm. It-
yeah, geez, that's good. That's yeah, but the whole soundtrack was interesting.
yeah. The
It's very
game.
varied. Oh, the game was cool. Once you get used to grabbing things, the
Yeah.
game was really cool. Eh, I'm not gonna criticize it because I can't figure out where the hitbox is. I feel like yeah, once I like actually try, maybe I could platinum that. Eh.
Well, the funny thing I was going to say with the game is that it's a total vanity project because it came out of nowhere. I mean, it's got some serious talent behind it too. The VO is
Mm.
great as well with Nolan North and a few others.
Oh
The music is,
yeah,
I mean, it's almost all
yeah.
the side stuff is even better than the game, as you're alluding to. And it's a shame. I know at the time, maybe you came to it after, but I'm pretty sure you couldn't progress after a few levels when it first came out. And they did patch it
Ah
very
yeah.
quickly, and then it was okay. But it's a game that it's probably disappeared or whatever. But I don't know the price. I don't think it's too bad. Maybe 15 or 20. I'm assuming in that range. It's definitely worth having a look because it is. It's for whatever the gameplay itself is, whether you like it or not. The production values are good in it, as you say, with all the
100%.
the other stuff. It's a yeah. It is something that unfortunately I think has disappeared a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you're not like a big shoot 'em up person, as long as you're not one of these completionist type people, just get it and get your 50% trophies because you
Mm.
can tweak those settings to just enjoy the story mode if you want and not have to worry about dying.
Mm. And there's
Um,
some good one-liners
yeah.
in there too, as well. I remember, so
Oh shit,
it's
yeah.
worth your time. It's worth your time, definitely. Yeah. Now, where would you like to go to next?
Oh well, we're at the spot. I got drunken bar fight up here, and I just think it's funny because it took about a year for them to patch those two trophies that you couldn't get, and
Mm.
I was going to make a joke, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. About what if it breaks some other trophies because like that's exactly what happened. It broke three other trophies when they patched it to get them. So unless you got the game, did all the trophies, then patched it and did it, like that's the only way that you can 100% this drunken bar fight. Fuck it. I just before I had a VR set, I saw that game and I thought that is going to be one of that's essential. I have to pick this up. I have to have a game called Drunken Bar Fight, and of course I wanted to complete it. So it was very good that I was able to do that, but I feel bad for everyone else who can't bloody finish it because they didn't get the timing right.
Mm, mm, mm. It's another curse of the ultra rare trophy game.
Yeah, man, and it's inexplicably ultra rare. Like it takes 5 minutes to load up the game and just do this simple ass thing. But yeah, one of them is still 3%. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah,
now while we're on, perhaps, and I don't want to allude here because I haven't played this game yet, but from everything I read, I know it was a little glitchy, perhaps a little underproduced at the time, but I'm not going to judge it. You have played it. Of course, this is a game that I wasn't aware came from a Brisbane team, and I believe that is correct until you pointed it out to me. The Stranded Deep. So I know you picked this up. You're supporting Australian developers, which is a fantastic thing to do.
for
Uh,
sure.
was that just the issue that it's still sort of in production, even though it was released? Do you think,
Oh,
or
do you mean my low percentage on that? Nah, man, what happened was that I was incredibly enthusiastic about this game 2 years ago when Telltale were going to publish it, and I was ready to buy and play that the week it came out. And then it took a year or more, and I'm just not in that mood anymore. So I bought it and I played it, and I thought this is cool. And then it did seem like it could do with a patch or two. So I've just sort of like it's just fallen by the wayside. But I feel like when I'm receptive to that type of thing because it's quite slow paced and you have to sort of craft everything and it is random. So once that's all dealt with, I think I might return to it and have a good old go
yeah?
because it doesn't seem like it's like overly difficult or anything, but it's kind of yeah, it's finicky. It does seem quite
Mm.
finicky. And there was that whole thing with the compass trophy of never having a compass even in your inventory. So I don't know if that's been addressed yet, but look, it was a pretty cool game, and I just yeah, it was like you're saying, man. Like you've got to support your local you've got to support your local people. It's why I assume it's why I see Germans with all the horse riding games, amongst other things.
And the perverted clown games as well.
Oh
Yeah. So
well.
let's now. You touched on this briefly at the beginning. I know a few listeners play this game. I don't have the patience for this sort of a game. Uh, and you talked about Mud Runner already, but you
Mm.
didn't really touch on Snow Runner. How did you find it? I mean, it is whatever you joke you want to make. It's a big game. It's a
Oh yeah.
massive grind at 5 miles an hour. So
I just
how
oh
was the experience?
I fucking loved it, eh? But I bought it on release, and I was just so looking forward to it. And work was a bit of a shit at the time, and I definitely got like properly depressed. I got so depressed that and this was actually I bought it, and I thought SnowRunner would be good, even if I don't really feel anything. I'll at least enjoy this. subconsciously,
Mm.
and the game didn't fucking work, man. It crashed when you loaded up a map. It crashed when you went to some of the islands or some of the areas or something, and I couldn't play it. And I thought, wow, here I am at this incredibly like rock bottom point mentally, and I can't even play this thing that might distract me enough. Um, but you know what? That shit got resolved, and the game got
Mm.
patched, and everything worked out all right. But and I mean, I stopped drinking because it didn't help. I mean, that's how low I was at the time. But it just seemed like SnowRunner got patched and everything kind of worked out, and I got just abhorrently addicted to it, and would put in 6 hour days or more.
Mm.
And because the co-op, like I said earlier on, because the co-op probably would break the trophies or your in-game progression, I did the entire thing solo, which kind of made up for getting carried in a little bit of that mud run stuff. But it didn't really,
Mm.
because the game is so much easier. They made a lot of quality of life improvements, and there's this thing that you can do in game where if you find uh, like you can buy a fuel trailer and just cart it around with you, and refuel yourself, and you can do the same thing for damage. You can get a maintenance trailer, and then you can just go to the shop and sell it for the same price you bought it for. Oh, that's right, there's in-game currency, right? And you need it to buy better
Mm.
trucks, you need it to do all this stuff, and the game didn't seem all that forthcoming with it initially. But because I got in early, there was a glitch where you'd fire up co-op and you'd duplicate a truck and you'd sell that truck. So I did that glitch for a couple of hours, and I made enough currency to do 2 playthroughs or something, and I never had to worry about money again. So
Mm.
that was I think that was like a nice that I had to have some reward for buying this broken game, early on for $80. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I had to have some reward, so that's what I did. And like, it didn't really make it easier or anything. All that it meant was that I was able to just buy a trailer and not give a shit. I just dump it on the side of the road. If you load up my maps, there's so many trailers there, because anytime, I just wouldn't give a shit. I'd never spend the time to drive back and sell the trailer, just because I had all that money. Uh,
It's one hell of a way to avoid the microtransactions in that game.
yeah, but
I
I mean,
like. I'm sure they tightened that up pretty quickly.
yeah, well, look, but the thing is, though, there's so much paved road, and a lot of people were whinging about that. They're like, why, how come I'm not getting bogged? And someone was like, go play in the mud in the
Mm.
farm, you'll get bogged. But the thing is that, like, the way that the game's designed, you always end up upgrading your truck and upgrading your tires so that you can reasonably get through this stuff. And yeah, there were very few times where I felt like I got stuck and I had to rescue myself with another truck or something. Um,
Mm.
but the thing is, right, loading, one of the things that was broken was loading cargo onto another truck. So there was this one mission that was on, and the thing is, right, there's 3 areas, and those areas are made up of 4 different maps, and not all of not, like, you're not guaranteed a fuel station or a repair station on every map. So sometimes you have to
Mm.
carry the trailer, you have to bring your own fuel. Um, and there was this one mission. I think it was cousin Cletus needed some barrels of oil, and you had to grab a crane and get the barrels. And one of the barrels was sort of on a shoreline, and you had to kind of go over a cliff, and it was this very narrow path through some windy, sort of foresty type areas almost. And then you had to kind of just go right up to the edge of the cliff, and because you couldn't load this barrel onto another truck because of the glitch or something. So it was so difficult, mate. I think I sent 3 different trucks to go and rescue the other ones or get myself out of the shit or something. And at the end, I did it, and I thought, man, if that was me, I'd throw Cletus in the barrel and set it on fire, you know? I hope he's fucking happy with his oil.
That's how I feel about that whole game. But it's interesting that only one part of that affected you that way. I like. I like it.
That was the only part where I wasn't sort of just euphoric and enjoying this slow trek, off road. But Russia was a little miserable, mate. Russia
Mm.
was just a little harsh. There was this one path that seemed like it was entirely logical, and you would just get bogged to the shit if you went on that path. And there was another path that didn't look like it was any road, and it was perfect and it was easy, you know.
Yeah.
But one thing versus Mud Runner in Snow Runner is that I just found I was driving on a bloody tilt. Um, so often, your car was fucking almost about to flip over, and when you have a giant trailer and everything, that was kind of exciting. But I kind of got the shits with it, and I was like, can't I get some level ground somewhere? But Yeah, I don't know. It's all a bit of a blur, even though I did put about 80 hours into it or something to get that platinum. But look, I'll look forward to some DLC. I think I hate
Mm,
DLC, generally, but I definitely like it for that. I love an excuse to revisit it, and I just hope that they make you play the missions or something, and just
mm,
maybe like a 20-hour DLC would be agreeable in my opinion.
mm, mm,
I'd be happy to drop $40 on that because I haven't bought the season pass yet. We'll see,
mm, mm.
you know.
Well, I think you're doing very well. I'm always amazed at how much stuff you've actually played in between the time that we are. Because I deliberately don't look at your profile before we speak because I know there's going to be many things that I've never seen or things that I want to try, but I figure I'll just let you do it instead and hear about it and and stuff like this. So what we'll do is if it's okay with you, we'll jump forward a little bit to the big one here. It was a milestone for you, I believe, and it was done before the exploit. Although I don't really understand how that works, so I know you did it legit anyway. The Cuphead game. Now, you never played this on the Xbox, did you? So this was your first
Nah,
experience on PlayStation. What
that's right.
What'd you think?
Whoa, I just thought with that and Natsuki Chronicles coming out, the only Xbox game I would want to play is that Forza game that's in Australia.
Mm,
It's amazing. But look, it was so good, right? Cuphead. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably watched maybe 10 minutes of video of it, and that's about all that I'd ever seen. And I just knew that there was this game out there that, looked like that, and I would probably like to play it. And if I own those systems, it'd be one of the first games I'd buy for those systems.
mm.
Switch and Xbox. And I had no idea it was coming out on PS4, so $30, mate, no brainer.
What a great
And
price. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and so what I found was, of course, the boss fights are just amazing, just so good. And the controls are really fucking smooth, like just perfect, right? And then people complained about the pacifist runs because there's run and gun segments, but if you just speed run those, they're fine. You just come up with speed run strats, and it's no issue. I didn't mind them, but the 2D shoot 'em up sections, my favorite genre, were pretty fucking piss poor, mate. They weren't good, eh? I thought the design of it was just kind of okay. The main ship, the speed of the ship, it felt bad, and even though I don't think there was any inertia, it somehow felt like there was inertia. It was the way that they animated the plane turning or something. But the thing about that is, it was just me not wanting to go into the mini plane mode. You press bloody the button to dodge or whatever, and when you're in the shooting thing, and it goes to a little tiny plane. Um, oh, what I neglected to mention was that the whole ship is your hitbox. In a modern shoot 'em up, in a good shoot 'em up, your hitbox is a tiny, tiny pixel, and
Mm,
that's how you can dodge bloody 1,000 bullets on the screen. I prefer that. I just don't. I just wish that there were no more shoot 'em ups that had your whole hitbox as your shit. I just think that's fucked, mate. But anyway, I dealt with it. I got over myself, and of course, once you shrink your ship, your hitbox is a lot smaller as well. So once I got over myself and just used the tiny plane, it was very easy. And that bloody robot thing everyone complains about, mate, I did that without bloody getting hit. For my A plus rank or my A rank or whatever, and it was no drama for me on expert mode. So the shoot 'em up sections, they were, I thought they were really easy, and a lot of people reckon they're the hardest part of the game. They're not. They just don't control all that well, and you just pretty much have to work with what they give you, which is which honestly it did annoy me a bit, but I would still call it like a 9 out of 10 game. It's still 100% like
mm,
essential in my opinion.
mm.
But this exploit, I actually tried playing co-op mode for fun after I'd beaten the game, and I thought, yeah, I've unlocked everything, cool. No, you sign in on another account which has nothing but a bloody pea shooter, and I spent the entire time trying to play the first boss, and I just revive, and I could never bloody do. I was always constantly bloody reviving my partner who had nothing, because it was my alt account. But it did auto pop the parry trophies, and I didn't notice until I checked my alt account after
Oh,
this whole, this whole argument started about this and that, and I just don't know, man. I don't know if it's really that viable an exploit if you're like if you had to give your account to somebody to do it for you. I mean, I would never do that. I have 500 plus games
mm,
on my account.
mm,
I've got delisted shit. There's no fucking way, man. There's no way someone's going near my account.
mm,
I actually, I'm 100% against someone playing anything for me. I don't want anyone to earn a single fucking trophy for me. You know what I mean? That's just me. No problem if other people do that. For me, I don't care, right? I don't really have an opinion about it. So if people want to do that exploit, whatever, but you're screwing yourself out of an enjoyable experience, and that's a pretty generic thing to say. But here's the thing, man. I manipulated the milestone for Cuphead, right? And it was really, really cheap and kind of lame of me because it was 31 platinums to do
Yeah,
that.
wasn't sure if you wanted to address that or not.
Yeah, I don't have to spam splain to anyone here, but you can get that done pretty quickly these days. Um,
Hmm,
so yeah, and then I thought, well, we could maybe talk about those different approaches because with Cuphead, to get the A
hmm,
ranks, and I didn't move on the story in normal difficulty until I got the A ranks, and it would have been better probably for me to unlock expert mode first because I noticed when I played expert mode, I was getting A ranks by default for a lot of them. But at the same time, would I really have done that? I was probably getting, through expert mode easily because I had done the A rank. So it's chicken and the egg. What came first? Who the fuck knows? But the die and
hmm.
retry thing never really bothered me. I never got angry. I was just like, oh, whatever. Next time I'll dodge it that way. Next time I'll do this. And it was a learning. The controls were so good that I didn't give a shit. It was my fault.
It's a funny thing you mention there because I think partly it's tied up in time that I'm trying to play so many different things, but I'm very patient in most of my life, but I'm not
Yeah.
patient with games like this to a point. And I did play this game on Xbox, and I really wanted to play it because again we haven't touched on, but the music, the trad jazz score is fantastic in this.
Oh, it
A
is.
lot of the
Mm.
animation is wonderful as well. So I wanted to, and it is a skill game definitely, but it's as you say, the more you play it, and it just got a
Mm.
little too frustrating for me as a low level gamer to continue with it. And then,
Yeah.
so when it came on PlayStation, I thought, "Oh, this is wonderful." Or I'm not going to, I'm not going to try it again because I know I can't do it. But I heard you doing it, and the other Australian Nurse Feelgood there, she streams on YouTube. Sorry, on Twitch. One of those things. And I thought, oh, I'll watch a little bit here. And she's played it the same way you sort of did. It's very relaxed and calm. And I think that
Mm.
I have a lot of respect for people that can do that because if you're from my school, these games are just impossible to a point because you get so angry and so frustrated that you make no progress. And then you sort of fear it. So I think you just throw it off as, oh, it's chilled out and it doesn't worry you. And I think that's the trick with these games somehow to
Mm.
get like
Mm.
that.
You have to. Well, I mean, well, maybe some people are like get somewhere by getting mad. But for me, if I get mad now, I mean, get older or whatever, and you figure this stuff out. But if I just walk away from the game and come back later, it's so much more productive than if I sat there banging my head against the wall, frustrated because
Mm.
I won't. There's no point hate playing something. It just doesn't facilitate the sort of the mindset that you need because if you're just calm and it's all good, things will happen. Good things will happen. You'll get stuff done.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah, mate, yeah.
I'm not
But
convinced.
the thing is, the thing. All right, well, how about this, right? Last year, let me think. I don't know when I started playing hard games, but I mean, the early, I guess I always have because I grew up playing them,
Mm.
and it was just normal. But I used to get mad, and as soon as I just sort of stopped getting mad and stopped hate playing stuff, I just found it was much better.
Yes, right.
But it takes a bit longer,
Yeah.
to do it. But I mean, like, say the Xbox 360, right? I was such a that was probably no between that and the Wii. The PS3 was definitely bottom rung last generation, and I played Spelunky on that. So that roguelike game Spelunky that's
Mm.
ultra rare. I finished that game. I got to hell, which is the harder way of finishing the game. I got to it on Xbox 360. Yeah, I was playing all of the 2D shoot 'em ups. I played Spelunky. And I'd almost I'd made a lot of progress. I mean, if I had the same progression on my PS3 list, I'd have some ultra rares there. I'd have a few more ultra rares, but I would only play that for about four. I'd have a few sessions, maybe like an hour's worth of sessions each day, while it was fun, and I never really sort of got mad at it. And it's the sort of game that would just like make you want to throw a controller half the time.
Mm.
And I didn't think it was possible at the start. And it's a similar thing with Meat Boy, right? I
Mm.
played that on 360 when it came out, and it took me so long to unlock the kid the first time around. I had this crap TV that the spikes were imprinted onto the TV. I
Mm.
got burn-in of all the spikes, and I could see that bloody Meat Boy level. But I persisted, and then it sort of when I went back and tried it out on PS4, I unlocked the kid easily. There's no problem. And it just you just get used to that sort of thing, I think.
Yeah.
And that's probably how crazy fuckers get Necrodancer and that done. It's just, I mean, it looks impossible, but if you just play it a little bit, you're like, oh yeah, and then a little bit more, and then it becomes you develop muscle memory and you get good habits, hopefully, ideally. I tend to get bad habits.
Well, that's a sign of getting older, yes. But yeah,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
I like that. So I think we've done pretty good by the listeners there. I mean, that's a solid hour plus of of gaming talk there. I think you've done a wonderful job. Now I'm going to leave because I think really we could go on all day, but we have to be conscious of other humans as well. So I'm going
Mm.
to leave the next part in your hands because we've got a little bit to do. We're going to do the platinum shoutouts. We're going to a little bit of music coming up as well, and we'll have a little break. But I'll leave this part in your hands. Would you like me to bore you for 5 minutes with what I've been playing, or shall we skip that this week, which is a very
No, no,
valid, approach as well?
I'll go for it.
Oh, okay.
I say.
Okay. Well, look, I'm just going to drop just two things, or maybe two or three things, very quickly on you listeners. The first is the last campfire, and that's basically all I'm going to say about it. There is a review up on the Push to Plat YouTube channel. It's a wonderful little game by Hello Games, the creators of No Man's Sky. I highly recommend it. But if you want to see some gameplay, if you want to hear some thoughts, you can check out that video. What I do want to talk about, Reddy, is now it's ironic because I didn't consider this until we had a little exchange in the Discord just before, and of course it is an Xbox game. It is Tell Me Why. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, Reddy. It's the new Don't Nod game that unfortunately at this stage is not coming to PlayStation, from the creators of Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2. So I finally got around to playing the first episode last night, and I was thinking about how I would talk about this game because unlike their other two, well, three games, I suppose, this starts with a cliffhanger in the first episode and it ends with a cliffhanger. And when I finished it last night, I was like, whoa, this is really a series maybe you should wait because it's not all released at once. Until I realized they're releasing each episode each week for the next 3 weeks. So perhaps it is a worthy time to jump in if you do have the Xbox. The reason I bring it up, really, I want to talk about it is that and it is no spoiler. At the very beginning, you learn that the two young children, one of them kills their mother, and the story progresses from there into the future. And it's very very abrupt or whatever. But the overall arch of the episode and the characters is that one of the characters or the main characters is transgendered. So what I wanted to just touch on this, obviously, we've touched on this topic a few times before, and ironically, Reddy, the last time you were on, we touched on this as well
Mm.
with the sweary game. But I wanted to bring it up because, and I'm treading very, very carefully here. One of the things that I noticed the whole way through the game is that it really focused on the characters' decision and life evolution to get to this point that they realized they were transgendered, to embrace it and to live their life that way. But this the character is a trans man. It has a sister, and at no point does it allow for the understanding that other people have to accept this as well. It's sort of this is me, this is who I am. Deal with it or
Mm.
whatever else. And it was a really interesting play on that. And the episode goes for 3 hours or so it's a little longer than they used to do in their Life is Strange. And it looks at that dynamic. Now, it actually was uncomfortable for me because it was so not in your face, but so self-centered view of it. And of course, if you are an LGBTQI person, you'll know that at some point in your life you did come out, and it was a very big thing for you at the time or whatever else. But you had a lot of time to process that before you decided to do it. Quite often years, and it's an interesting play on the fact that everyone else around the person has to adjust almost immediately. They expect that on a very short time frame, and it explores those issues. And so I don't want to touch on the actual story too much because it would ruin the story if I do. But it goes in with that, and I think it's really interesting because I haven't seen that dealt with. I know there was fragments of him that I think you played as well, already a while ago, that was a nice little
Mm.
touch or whatever. But this actually really is setting up the stage to perhaps be the first game that really delves into this issue of what it's like to be trans in yourself. And that it isn't a choice, as people would know. It's who you are, but also how people around you adjust to the news and embrace it in their own life. having said that as well, if you didn't like the Life is Strange games, you're not going to like this because it's even more of a movie now than the other two games. They're really moving in that direction. It is beautiful, that aside, but that is the premise of the story and the focus. So I think if that does interest you, I don't know, if you don't own an Xbox, you're shit out of luck. But if you have a PC, and I do believe it runs on fairly low specs, you could acquire it. And of course, on Game Pass if you are a stingy bastard as well. So could be worth checking out. But that's really all I've got to drop on us this week. Ready?
What about Dan Machi? You played the Dan Machi game. Is it wrong to pick up those in the dungeon?
Yes. So I played a lot of things. This doesn't surprise me you found that one. So I
had my eye on it.
yeah, I picked it. I found out of it this some time ago. A listener of the show, Teresa, she played the Asian stack on the Hong Kong store, which was in English, I believe, at the time. But I thought I'd wait until it came. It is now localized, I suppose, to the EU and NA store. So I've had it for a few weeks, but I did jump into it. It is pretty much what you'd expect. Obviously, if you're a fan of the anime, I think you'll have a lot more interest in it or whatever else. The cutscenes are fine or whatever. They're not a direct lift from the anime like this sort of online Alicization game that recently released. The dungeoning is exactly what you would expect of a B-grade dungeon crawler, I think. So if you go, top down, if you go in with that in mind, it's fine. But again, I haven't played a lot of it yet, so I definitely have more time to invest in it. But I think it's a good time waster game, really. Is that enough said?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of did seem like that because I think it's probably pretty grindy. But when I saw the dungeoning, it was 2D,
Yes.
and it looked almost like an action thing. And I thought, well, fuck, I've got to pick this up because I watched the first season of Dan Machi, and I thought it was quite amusing. And then they did this interim season thing, which is a side story, which wasn't really a new season, and I ignored it. And then there's a second season, which I haven't watched yet. But I'm so far behind. I don't think I've watched much anime ever since the Australian government kind of banned all the torrent tracker sites, and I can't legally download it. Maybe I'll just have to pony up that $15 subscription or whatever. But it's definitely on my to buy list, that game.
Yeah, it's interesting because
Yeah.
I don't mind playing games. Like, I don't watch a lot of anime, but I don't mind trying anime games if I don't know the anime. And I find it's an interesting way to come at it because obviously, when you start these games, huge amount of fan service, but there's also a huge understanding that you know what's going on already. Very few of them start at the beginning. And this game, I probably played 3 hours so far, and it does explain the characters well. So I think if you aren't familiar with it, you can play it. I'm spending more and more time. I mean, my trophy list doesn't reflect it because you never get a trophy in it, but the Sword Art Alicization game, which is massive.
Yeah.
But that's a game that I started playing and I hadn't seen the arc. And about 3 hours into it, I was like, shit, I need to stop playing this and go watch it because it literally is the story. Now, I know it deviates later on, but you can't play that game without having watched it, the anime, I think. So it's interesting to see I think this is one you could definitely jump into and play. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to know. Oh, shit. The fuck. I was supposed to bloody bring this up first thing, right? I've got breaking news here. All right. So ever since the PS blog stopped doing the drop, which, kind of annoyed me, I've had to go to this bloody GameStat site and look at just the listings, and, that could be a month or more in advance or something, but they do list what's coming out. Okay. And last night I was looking at it and I saw My Writing Staples 2, A New Adventure has been put up here. And when I went and looked it up, I was really confused about what version of My Writing Staples I even played on PS4, because on Steam it almost looked like they'd bloody combined two Steam or PC games into one for the PS4 thing, but probably not. And you just have these different names for things, So I have no idea which version, when it was from. It was from 10 years ago or more. But look, I think I did see a YouTube thing of the Switch version, actually. So if it's the same game, they might have changed the tank controls, because I saw someone turn around without rotating. So, that could be pretty good. That's one to watch. And if it's anything like the first game, it'll be half a day's worth of grinding.
It's so funny you bring that up, because via the Discord we have games that seem to look, as you know, Reddy, I don't influence anyone. Nobody's really nobody really takes anything in. I think it's just idle air that moves between their ears as I speak. But we had the period of the German horse games, definitely with this show or whatever else, and now we've moved on. I feel, which is wonderful. This is a game that won't interest you either. I can tell. These idle champions of the Forgotten Realms. I'm not gonna dwell on this game because we're gonna do more content on it later when I finished it. But this is the new game for the Discord ready, and it is such an addictive time waster. I just feel so wonderful to know that we're slowly influencing people out of their lives playing this game. So I'm happy that we could bring them back, perhaps, to some horse gaming as well. It's been a while.
I don't want to maybe give people that bad encouragement there, but
Oh, not at
just
all.
take a quick look at the idle champions. Yeah, I mean, the stuff down the bottom here when it's got all the characters and the thing up. As soon as I see a menu screen like that, I usually go fuck off because it looks like the sort of thing you should play with a mouse. But yeah, like anything. Whenever I see something overhead like that, especially if it's got plain 3D or it just looks like something that'd be better played on a PC, I usually think, yeah, I mean, no. How about no? And then, of course, I'll never get around to playing it on a PC, even though I've upgraded my PC. I just don't really.
Yeah.
It's for sound editing, but yeah, no. But if you get that, that might be a nice, cheeky ultra rare. It didn't sound like it was too bad. It sounded like the game played while you were away,
Look, that's
which I
exactly
guess,
true. And as you know, my
yeah.
stance on ultra rare trophies, so I will pull out before platinum on that one. But I will climax almost on that. So look,
Better watch out. You get to 3-digit ultra rares.
that is not happening. I lose like an aging gentleman. I lose a few every year, so it's fine. Now, look, you opened the door on music editing. What we're going to do, listeners, is we're going to take a short break in a moment, and then we'll come back. I know it's been a big episode, but we haven't been here for a while, so why not? We've got a massive amount of platinum shout-outs to get through today. Reddy's going to stick around and help me. We'll be back very shortly, listeners. Chill out, refill your drink, and we'll catch you on the other side. So welcome back, listeners. Let's jump into the Push2Plat Platinum shout-outs. Now, of course, if you want a shout-out, you can jump into the free community on the PS4 or in the Discord in the show notes and post what you played and a little comment if you so wish, just like these legends. So, Reddy, why don't you kick us off here?
Sure. We've got I'm Styling on You Bro, who's 100%ed The Last of Us 2, and he says, such a farcical DLC thanks to the accessibility. I blitzed as quick as possible and took out 7 hours and 56 minutes to go through the game on permadeath. This game really is super drawn out considering an Uncharted 4 speedrun was needed in less than 4 minutes 15 for a trophy. 4 hours 15, sorry.
Yeah. Excellent. He, a little behind the scenes, he really did enjoy that game, so that must have been painful for him to go back. Look, number 221, Conan Exiles. That's a quality game, so nothing really punny to say about this one. I used the dev menu to cheat my way through it real quick. The real question would be, Reddy, with this game, is anyone actually done it legit or not for the plat? But we'll never know.
I don't know if I'd want to talk to them, to be honest.
No.
But I understand this. My weed runs out too sometimes. So, yeah. All right. 222 Theme Park Simulator. It was agony watching the slow download bar, much like the slow-moving queue at Cedar Point, as I waited to get on my most anticipated coaster, Top Thrill Dragster. Some 15 years ago, with the simulation's pristine photorealism, 7.1 audio, and immersive point-of-view camera, this is like the real thing. With the pandemic, the simulator eliminates all inconveniences of an actual theme park with all the enjoyment still intact. No waiting in long queues, no being around folks who don't wear masks, no expensive food, and no vomiting after crazy rides. It's poetic to have this simulator as Plat 222 because it is too enjoyable.
Excellent. And then if you're not familiar with this game, listeners, the lacing of sarcasm is extreme in this comment here. It's a buyer beware situation for 15 US at the moment. But look, it's a quick plat, and at least he thought he found some enjoyment in it. Number 223, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered. My mother would have washed my mouth with soap the amount of times I swore at the immortal run. I died so many times, be crappy grenades or enemies knifing me from behind. Glad the price I paid was $0, as this wasn't as enjoyable revisiting as I thought it'd be. Even if I paid even if I paid a Nikolai, would have been upset. I I see what he did there. Glad I found a knife. This is why you never read him in advance. You don't want to be prepared. Glad I found a knife method for the time trial to help shepherd me through the otherwise tough bit. There you go. Now, I'm assuming that's a lot of characters. I don't think I played that. I assume they're all characters. So, congratulations, sir. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, nice going. All right, Mr. Dash Matt Backwards. AI The Somnium Files, another fun one. Spike Chunsoft never fails to deliver. Played it pretty leisurely, taking about 40 hours. Number 3 for the Push to Plat event, and number 6 for Gaming by Numbers.
Excellent. And number 91 for Mr. Tam here. Life is Strange too. This was fun. I like the story a lot. Choices have an impact, made me stop and think about things a few times, which was pretty refreshing. And ultimately, I'm happy how things turned out. That's wonderful to hear, sir, because I know that game is polarizing because of the lack of potential gameplay compared to the earlier ones. And look, if you did enjoy it, as I said, I hope you have access to a PC. I believe you do, and can check out their latest offering.
All right, number 92, Near Automata. Nice going. Very nice. That's my comment, by the way. Very fun game. Took me a little short of 60 hours because I was stubborn and opted not to use the trophy shop. Oh, mate. No plat screenshot for this one because it's the classic black screen with trophy in corner.
This is a
Yeah.
great game, isn't it?
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, so oppressive, just so hopeless at the end, and the sad clown music in the desert. Oh my God, man.
I'm not sure how you did this or not. I caught him. He streamed this game, and so I saw a lot of this game that I didn't see because I did use the trophy shop, and I know there's a lot of optional bosses and things. I'm not sure if you partook in any of that or
I
not, Reddy. But
I did about 80 to 90% of it, and then I thought, and then when I did do that, I looked at the first Nier, and I thought, buddy, because it was at 60% and left for years. So I went and did the first Nier after I'd done Nier Automata, and I feel like that made up for it because the grind in the first Nier is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
No, I understand. Number 93, even oh wow, it's a change of pace here. Even tied, a Slavic Fable, fun point and click puzzle game. It made me think more than I thought it would. Missed some shamefully obvious collectibles, so did a second playthrough to clean up those. That was my first Artifacts Monday game, but I enjoyed it and will definitely check out some of their others in the future. It's wonderful to see, Reddy, that we've somehow managed to attract listeners that play games legitimately. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's wonderful to see. I haven't influenced too many people. That's wonderful, good, and congratulations there, sir. Good to see. How long has it been since you did an Art Monday game?
I've done one once, never again, ever. Never. I don't care how desperate I am.
Yeah.
That was horrible. But you know what? I think that if I was playing that without any guide, I probably would have thought it was okay. But I was not receptive to gaming when I was playing that because I had to bloody well stay straight the whole day and then drive to the airport. And do you know what? I had the day wrong, so I drove around the airport and then I bloody oh my God, mate. So, it just wasn't a good time. So maybe I'm like harsh on it because of that. I've got to kind of acknowledge that I wasn't receptive to that at the time, But I see the word Slavic and I like a lot of East European music, and so it just winds me up to see it associated with something like that as opposed to. And that's what I found with a lot of these Art Monday games. Like it looks like it's going to be a really cool theme. The one I did was the Pirates one. I'm like, oh sweet, But then you get it, and it's just like, I mean, that type of game would be pretty good on a PC probably. But again, it's just PC game. I don't buy a console to play PC style games, which is ironic for me to say because what I really want are these 2D Steam ports, but they're console style games on a PC ported to a console. But I don't want to play PC style. But anyway, let's it's neither here nor there. Because
It's funny though, because you're talking about that, and I was just thinking, like, I think I like the genre of I like the genre idea of point and clicks, but I don't actually like the playing of them so much. I don't know why. It's just not for me.
Is there a I don't think there's a mouse for the PS4, but if there was, I'd probably get it and I'd definitely like Full Throttle. I really want to do that one
Mm,
day,
that was
because
a
I
good
thought that
one.
was great in the 90s, you know.
Mm,
There are a heap of point and clicks that look really fun and like really enjoyable. And I just don't want to drag a fucking cursor around with a controller, eh? That's garbage,
mm.
mate. I want the mouse.
Well, I tell you, see, we've detracted even further. Sorry, Mr. Tam. We'll
Yeah, my apologies. That's
we'll move on in a second. But a game that I did mean to throw out for you here, Eddie, because you're
mm,
anti-establishment enough for this game,
mm.
is this, and it is a PC game, so you'll have to grit your teeth here. But it is on
Oh,
console now, and it is technically a point and click, but it doesn't involve much pointing or clicking. It works very
mm.
nicely with the console with the controller, but it does require a huge amount of reading. Is this Kentucky Route Zero, which I started. Now, this is a heavy fucking game. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's very minimal in
Um,
style, black and
I
white.
didn't Mindy talk about it last
I
year or
think
something? It was a
so. She
while
was
ago.
going to
It
play it, and it was glitched for some time. It is now
Yeah.
working and on sale, but it's just a. I mean, if you're a fan of that genre, but you're sort of like me, you like the idea of it more. This could be for you. But it's the reason I bring it up, Ready. It's one of
Mm.
these games. I was advised it's in 5 acts. Each act is like an hour or so to play an act a day, and if you engage with it, the subject material is really bloody heavy.
It
So
sounded good. I do
mm,
remember that, and I think I looked it up, and I thought that
yeah,
does
I'd
look like a good
recommend it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, let's
All
move
right.
on.
Next up, we just got Zador VP, who's done Hitman 2, the 2018 one, and its additional expansions to 100%. Thanks to Minnie for being a great co-op partner.
Excellent. Hitman 2. Great. Marley Kalai, the wonderful host of the Game Stuff podcast, number 26, Legend of the Skyfish on Vita. Marley, doesn't platinum many games. It's wonderful to see the only game she'll platinum this year is a stack of the same game. So there are more things on PlayStation. I hope one day you discover them from your PC Master Race chair there.
All right.
Moving on.
Next up, how do you pronounce this? Zotye?
Yeah.
Number 46, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and look, you must have enjoyed it so much that you didn't leave a comment.
Mm, mm.
Good
Official.
stuff.
Well, congratulations. There's
Oh, well,
nothing.
that's a real platinum though. I mean, you have to put in
You
work for
have
that.
it.
And I remember trading my dog tags that I had in the limited edition Metal Gear Solid 1 for a copy of Crash Bandicoot 2 on the PS1 back in the day. Hmm.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Hmm.
go.
I actually
We've
played
done
that on the PS1. Oh.
okay, next up, Redbeard Rick, number 187. Oh, this is a little blast from the past. Everybody's gone to the Rapture. If you like the walking speed when you're over encumbered on Skyrim, then this is definitely the game for you. It's harsh. It's an interesting story and very nice looking game, but it loses a couple of points for the slowness. Well, that's true. I that
I
plenty.
liked that game. I didn't mind that it was slow. I was just I had enough medicine to smoke to make it enjoyable.
Mm,
That was good
mm.
stuff.
It was,
Um.
but that game, it did have that bullshit trophy where you had to go. Was it every area or
Oh,
every?
visit. Yeah, it was visit these things. Oh, actually, yeah, you're right about that too. Eh? Well, I think it was just visit these things. It was radios or something, and
Mm,
it's just there's no real way to know that the game's acknowledged that you've done that. Maybe. And
yes.
there was something else too. I can't remember. There was something that broke something else, but it was ages ago. It was when I
Mm.
was more of a legitimate gamer that didn't do any 90% platinums. So for me, that was just amazed that I could get this platinum in a few hours.
It was the
Mm.
beginning of the end. I like
Yeah,
it.
shit, yeah. God, don't pull any punches about doing them now. I'll do bloody 31 in a working week
That's right.
just for fun. Anyway, moving on with Redbeard Rick's haul is got 188. Life is Strange. I enjoyed this a lot more than I expected to. Somebody definitely watched Donnie Darko and the Butterfly Effect back to back, then decided to make a game. I think I've seen those movies, but I don't really think I related them to the game. I liked those
Mm,
game. I liked that game though. I thought that was quite good.
mm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to think about that. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny,
Hmm.
not to detract again, but one of the problems I have with this series, and it's one of the problems I have with Stephen King, wow, that's a long bow to draw, isn't it? Is that it always breaks down into the supernatural and it annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah. Well.
without that. And Life is Strange obviously always does as well. Although this new one doesn't, and I won't explain the mechanic, but doesn't so much. So if you're of a similar position that you don't like these extra powers that they always have, then I like they're moving away from that. But I can see
Uh,
butterfly effect.
mm, mm.
Oh, look at this 189. I get a nice shot. One Infamous Second Son. Well, that's a classic, isn't it? Congratulations, sir.
That's about as much as anybody should have to say about a game like that. 190 Demons Tier plus PS4 stack. No fucking way I'm doing any more stacks of this. Tier 3 was a nightmare for me this time around.
You might enjoy this game, Brady. I played a
Eh?
little bit of it. I might get a bit bullshit at the end. I didn't get that far yet, but it's like a rogue light style
Yeah.
dungeon crawler. It's not bad. I don't know if you played it or not, but it's not
That
bad.
one might have looked alright to me, yeah. I think I looked at it. The Demons game I really want to play is Demons Crush, that pinball thing that was based on the old Mega Drive PC Engine thing. Yeah,
Oh,
it had bullet hell patterns. It's $30 on the American store and on nothing else, so that can wait for a bit. But that's the
mm.
Demons game that I've got my eye on. That's come out recently, at least.
Okay. Now you may be a bit more of a winner here than me with Renichi. Although this is a good week for me, so I recognise one of the three games you've played
Holy
here.
shit, I
Uh,
recognise one of them. Yeah, alright.
I thought you would.
Fuck me
Number
dead.
162, Body Count. Yeah, not the best, but a fun survival co-op mode that could be challenging. Do you know this game? Or
No. I'm thinking of 163.
oh,
Rogue
go for it.
Warrior. Oh my god, mate. I would love to get the online done in Rogue Warrior because I played it once. I did the hard mode playthrough. I got some miscellaneous, and all I really have to do is Easy Street and online. But the online is region locked, and it's so hard to find the amount of people. And I've seen gaming sessions at PSNP, and people are like, "You put this session up months ago. How come you haven't started it yet?" and all that. And I just think, well, stuff it. I think it was a Bethesda published game that ran, sort of not that great like they do. And it was this first person shooter. And I think the main character, a lot of people complained about the vulgarity or something, and it was $20. And I think those factors contributed to me picking it up. And you're in North Korea, which is interesting because I'm very interested in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. And, yeah, sure enough, it was just dodgy as shit. And the dialogue was, cheesed out to the max. And, I thought it was a bit of a laugh, but getting that platinum, mate, that's well done.
Mm,
That's all I
mm,
have to
mm.
say. Well done. I'm a little envious of that. That is pretty cool. Mm.
Well, that's good. I'm glad we can do you some justice, Sir Radici, because I know you haven't found the joys of the 90% platinum yet. You're down in the ultra rare section, which I have no knowledge of. So I'm glad we have a little today. Number 164, air conflict specific carriers. Of course, we talked about the air conflict series just recently with I Yield to No One, and I've played some of that. That is quite enjoyable as well. Although I think maybe a cheesy ultra rare platinum. But perhaps you would agree as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Mm,
nice. All
mm.
right. Back the fuck up. Onyx is here with number 850, Resistance Burning Skies. My latest milestone and another PS exclusive to add to my ever expanding collection. I've done that. You've done that.
Mm, mm.
When I did it, I had to probably leave the Vita idle for maybe like 3-4 hours to get that one online game going, and then we
Mm.
won it with, I think I got the last kill in the last 5 seconds or something, and it was so satisfying. And I thought
Oh, wow.
that's
You
a good
didn't
amount.
get
Yeah, I didn't boost or anything. No, that was
no.
a good amount of online for a game in general. Just
Yeah. That was
yeah.
the fireman game, wasn't it, with the axe? Is that
You
correct?
what? No. Resistance
Am I thinking
Burning
of the wrong one?
Skies. It's just a FPS on a Vita. It worked really well.
Oh, okay.
I was
I'm
so
thinking of the
surprised that it worked
mm,
that well. But and I enjoyed Resistance on the PS3, the trophy list game, and then I never played any of the sequels. But of course, I think besides that and the Call of Duty game, there aren't much in the way of any first-person shooters on the Vita, are there? But
there was a
you,
Shadow Zone, wasn't there? Am I
was
thinking of
there?
I'm not sure. Um,
Probably, but yeah. So yeah, I did the Resistance game. The Call of Duty game I got from Aldi, the supermarket.
wow.
Yeah, for maybe 15-20 bucks sealed, or maybe it was $8.
Sell everything, don't they?
Yeah, mate. I just a sealed Vita game in Aldi. So I own that Call of Duty game, but apparently there's this hideous thing that you have to do with killing a certain amount of people with one grenade, or just something like that. That people are. There's a choke point anyway, but maybe one day. No
Hmm.
online for that one, which is
Yeah.
interesting. All right, a bit of a tangent there.
That's all right. That's all right. You're
Yeah,
used to the show. Dino
yeah.
Raw. It's a big one here, Reddy. Could you imagine having this many platinums? It's insane.
Mm.
1,200, F1 2020. So glad this series returned with a game that wasn't a pure drag. Really enjoyed my time back in with the F1 games. Highly recommended. And my understanding, I don't play a lot of racing games, so I don't play any F1 games. My understanding is this is much fairer with the online compared
That's
to
what I heard too.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe worth checking out. I know they're very good games if you're interested. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't run off the road playing stuff like that, like I do.
They're no good for my driving style. It punishes bumper driving.
Yeah, I need to be able to like just go full speed and then tap the handbrake and do a little 180, and that's how I like
Yeah,
to turn the corner. That's what I
yeah.
need. Mm.
It's funny. I'm playing Project Cars 3 at the moment, and there's a trophy there for reaching 300 points across the month in online play or just
Mm.
leaderboards. And I was like, oh, this will be much easier than some of the stuff you have to do, particularly in the previous Project Cars. And this week, this is the first normal week before pre-release. The challenge is all in F1 cars. So I was like, oh well, the first week's a wipe. I'm not even going to bother trying. But
Yeah.
I'll come back next week and see how we go. But
Oh, yeah.
let's move on.
Mm. Oh, sure, yeah. Vigilant Crow number 32 with the NA stack of Fortnite. Fuck me dead, mate.
That's a
That's,
massive one.
yeah, jeez. That's pretty good because I'm not sure if they can, if they've done the EU stack, but they can go ahead and do that now, I think. Or can they? Didn't they break the trophies for Fortnite
Oh,
recently with an update?
mm,
I think that happened. Anyway,
mm.
I'm 37 years old in a month, so that's of no interest to me, but
Ah,
much respect. That's respectable.
I
Mm.
tell you what, that would be very interesting to my current friends list because I am massive for some reason in the Fortnite community. I think it's because of my kill death ratios of 0 kills and 1 death has made me in one game, has made me such an icon with the 12-year-olds. But it is unbelievable how many messages I get asking, will I be playing Fortnite today? It's
Oh, I think we've all been spammed, yeah, with the
wonderful.
Fortnite invites.
Yeah, but look, that is
Yeah.
it's point 0.06, so that must be massive. Gaz Davis, 11, number 61, The Town of Light, pretty underwhelming.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought you liked that. Didn't you do a deep dive on it or something? Or-
yeah, I did like it. I can understand that the
Mm,
gameplay, halfway through the game, it splits. It's very frustrating for the trophies.
mm.
But yeah, I think the premise is much better than the story. The ending is really good. The beginning is good. The middle is lost. So I understand.
Ah. Yeah, I have a physical copy, and I always think one day I'll redeem the platinum.
It's
Yeah.
worth playing. It's very short, 5, 6 hours, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, Boston George, number 180, Batman Arkham Asylum. Classic Metroidvania. No, it's not. It's a 3D game, but okay, mate. Only took me 10 years to finish. I like that. I've always wanted a 10-year timestamp. But yeah, nice gun. Mm.
I'm not going to touch that. Lloyd X Christmas here. Oh, this is more in my realm. Number 137, A Winter's Daydream. Number 138. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this game here, Ready.
Mm.
Real Fishing, a road trip adventure. I don't know if you've heard of
Fuck.
this.
I think there was one fishing game I had my eye on, but I think it was called Barents Sea something or other. And you actually, I think you were able to also ferry the ship around or something. That one looked interesting. Or
Mm,
the Deadliest Catch game on PS3. But beyond that, I think fishing in games is really just more of a side thing in whatever RPG I'm tolerating at the time, eh? But that's cool. I like that though. But yeah, sorry.
reason I dwell on it is because
Hmm.
it is a fishing game with fishing on the side. It is an RP like, and I know I'm going a stretch here, but I can do this. It is a bit of an RPG as well. Like, yes, you're fishing in the areas. It's very Japanesey in its style. It has a story. You have your shop and all this stuff. So it's definitely not your straight fishing simulator at all. It's quite interesting. I believe it's a fairly grindy plat, that one. So congratulations. So and then
Um,
last. Oh,
Well, yeah, no, can I do, yeah, Whipsy and the Lost Atlas, right? I've been interested in this lately, and I looked it up, right, and it looked really good. It had this pink blob character that reminded me of Kirby, which is one of the Nintendo things that I tolerated back in the day. I was a bit anti-Nintendo. I'm not like that now, but you have to beat all the bosses without getting hit or something. Yeah, without getting hit and without dying, and I saw it was a Corn Shack review, right? And he said the controls were a little. I thought, oh dear, because he's always playing those NES games with the awkward controls, and that guy bloody reviewed Rainbows, Toilets, and Unicorns and said he had no problem with the controls. So I thought, in that context, with that guy saying this, how bad are these controls? And I bought it because it was $5 recently, and played it on an alt account just so I wouldn't feel compelled to, play it if I didn't enjoy it. And sure enough, mate, that is fucking garbage. So much respect for getting that platinum done. That's really cool. Mm.
I wasn't sure where you were going to go with that, so I was going to preface it.
I
But
thought
that,
it sucked, mate. It felt bad. I didn't really like the stage design, and the thought of investing the time to speed run the bloody stages so I could get to the boss to do the no damage attempts. Oh, mate, yeah, no. I think I'll just play it on an alt. No, yeah.
yeah, it's
Mm,
funny that game. Now they didn't develop it, but they did publish it. The Australian publisher Blowfish.
mm.
They published some interesting stuff, and it is a wide mix of stuff. A lot of it's this sort of fringe indie stuff, but yeah, I've not played that one. So
Oh,
interesting.
if it was an Aussie publisher, I'm glad I bought it at least. Then
Yeah,
that's good to. I
yeah.
didn't know that, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
support us in Sydney here. You know, we're not in good shape. You know, it's not like
Mm,
Queensland. Now,
mm.
SS Squarehead here. Oh, it's a big one. Number 70, Ghosts of Tsushima. Pretty sure already, if I
Yeah.
develop some hand disease for RSI from my thumb, it's going to be because of this game. I'm still in pain 2 weeks later, but it
Oh,
is a
nice.
wonderful game. And now Squarehead is much younger than me, I'm sure, so he'll be fine. Number 80, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And then now seems more in your vein here.
No, mate, no. Star Wars is off the cards.
Oh, no, no, no.
Anything? Oh. The Mega Drive classics.
Yeah.
That was my first platinum. The PS3 version of that. Yeah. Mm. That's wicked, mate. That's a really good old easy plat to get, and you can cheese the Puyo Puyo trophy if you have the right version of the game, which I think is the Euro version. Jeez, I hope I'm not mistaking that. I have the Asian version, so I've got no idea what that's based on. But if you don't have the right version, Puyo Puyo, or it's called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine in that, will troll the shit out of you. Whereas if you have the right version, you just have to do pretty much nothing until the computer fucks itself over.
Mm.
So that's the interesting thing about that Mega, because I have it on the Xbox as well, and the Xbox version or the X360 version I have, yeah, I did find the Mean Bean Machine trophy was or achievement was such a bastard in that particular version, and it's based on the region. Interesting sort of
All
side
right.
note on that one. Mm. So yeah,
Tack next one.
yeah, Ed the Shed 2014, number 124 Road Bustle. I did that one recently myself, twice. And number 125 Even the Ocean, which is interesting because that was on the rather like upcoming games for ages, mate. And when I looked it up, I thought this looks great. Maybe this will be the trophy list of theirs that takes 2 hours, and they put a bloody debug menu in there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Shame because I
Mm.
have not read it yet, but it is supposed to be very good.
Looks
Um,
awesome, right? Looks really, really good. Like a high quality game someone put a lot of effort into. So let's debug menu. Fucking
mm,
hell.
mm,
But
mm.
the less said about that, the better.
Yes, they're definitely
Yeah.
pigeonholing themselves there, aren't they now? So I like that. Teresa, it's a big one here. Number 700, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know that that's not an easy plat as well. Congratulations on a wonderful milestone. And of course, Road Bustle. I gotta love the $1 plats. Look, it's true, isn't it? At least they're not bending you over with the price tag, I suppose. So that is something.
Mm. I like $1 plats, but
Mm.
most of the ones I tend to buy are unobtainable, like that farm game or the robot thing. Anyway, moving on, we got James Hamlin, number 300 Plague Inc. Evolved. Proud of this one and wanted a challenge for my milestone. The mad cow disease scenario nearly destroyed me. That's the Mecco Tales people doing a. No, wait, is it? No, I'm thinking of Plague Road. I'm not sure about this one, actually.
Yeah, it's not a bad game if you haven't played it. So it plays like, I mean, it's a simulator, a game of sorts or whatever else, where you've got all the compounds and you can link them up through experimentation to create these different diseases to then ironically put pandemics. It's this game's been out for a while. Ironic that they would
Oh,
release DLC about 2 weeks ago as well. So well played, or maybe too early.
it
I'm not, but
yeah, I've got some screenshots up here, and it's just a bloody world map, and I'm sure it's fun when you're into it. But I look at this stuff, and maybe I should get over my stupid prejudice, but I'd just be like, nah.
mm,
You know what I mean?
a very good guide now, though I believe with this.
It 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 looks like Tokyo Tattoo Girls, that Japanese guy. You just pick shit from a menu. I don't, whatever, man. But but that's cool. You probably have to use your head for that. I'm a don't really like to do that as much.
No. Well,
So respect.
James is a proper gamer, so that's understandable. Number
Yeah, yeah.
302, Max and the Book of Chaos. Really enjoyed this one. Fun part. I think you might enjoy this, Reddy. It's totally jank.
Yeah.
It's total jank, but this Jandu soft, but it's fun jank, and it's also frustrating because it's cheap at the end, and you'll either get it first time or 10th time, depending on. There's a bit of variation in all the picks.
Oh, it's 2D.
Mm,
Sorry,
good luck.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool. I'm just impressed that someone's come up with 2 games in a row I had to actually look up. That's great.
Yeah, you learn
That's
a lot.
fantastic.
You learn a lot doing this. And would you like to close this out
Yeah.
with the last one?
Okay, here we go. The last one is EDJ3DG number 54, God of War 3 remastered. These are platinum. Like I have God of War 1 and God of War 3. This one on PS3, and all I've got left, I think, one of them is the speed run and the arena, and the other one is hardest difficulty and the arena. And I know that I could do those, but I never played God of War much. In the PS2 days, everybody kept talking about it, and it was the extreme metal community, which, have as bad taste in games as they do in music generally, I find. And they were ranting on about it, and I thought, yeah, okay. And then I went to play it, and I was surprised because, for the PS2, the graphics were very good, the presentation was great and everything. But when I went back to play the remastered on PS1, the very first game, oh man, I thought, what a piece of shit, hey. It's like the controls were so piss poor, and there's the bloody pre-rendered background so that, the camera doesn't change, just didn't work. And there was a few jumping bits that were just unnecessarily finicky, and it just problems with 3D in my view of those. But I'm really happy to leave those at 70%, man. Much respect if you put yourself through that. I know I could do it, but why bother? I may as it's better for me to suffer through something that a million people haven't played already. If I'm going to suffer, maybe I can impart some information afterwards. But yeah, no, that's great. Good stuff. I don't mean to take away from the accomplishment at all. Good stuff. Yeah.
Another proper gamer. Congratulations, EDJ 3DG. So that was a massive amount, listeners. But as I said, we haven't been on for a couple of weeks, so it is nice to catch up there with everyone and see what you're doing. You've all been incredibly busy. Now, you don't need to panic. We will be back weekly from next week. We've actually got a pretty good lineup. In fact, most of the lineup for the rest of the year is now set. So I'm looking forward to bringing you more wonderful guests. Of course, also, I've decided to dabble a little bit in some video creation because why not? Not being able to do a podcast may as well not be able to do good video content as well. It's all a learning experience, really, and I'm having fun. So if you aren't a member of the YouTube and you despise clicking the subscribe button, I understand. But if you can tolerate it, please do. It all helps, or whatever else. And there'll be just a video or so a week dropping up of different games as they become available to us all to enjoy and play. But look, I do want to thank you so much today, Reddy. I knew that I would enjoy it. I knew it would be a wild and vivacious conversation, and it definitely has been. We will have to make the time period shorter between conversations, I think, because there is always so much to get through. But as I said, thank you so much for your time today. If you did want to be approachable to the listeners, I'm not sure if you do, how is the best way for them to follow on your program?
Yeah. Just if you can always message me on PSN or PSNP. That's Drag-On-Detritus, all dashes. Probably, with dashes between the things. It's probably easier to look me up on you just go to the Australian leaderboards, and I'm somehow still in the top 50 there. That's how I find myself most of the time. It's easier than typing it in. But yeah, I'm pretty receptive to, I'm pretty forthcoming with information. If I can remember it, I'll tell you. I'm 100% happy to help people. So, and I love playing these games that no one cares about, no one plays. So, if you happen to find yourself in a similar situation, you've seen me on the recent players list or something, hit me up. I'll let you know anything that I can remember. And, my memory does tend to be hazy sometimes with this sort of thing, but I do tend to write stuff down as well, lately at least. So, yeah. No worries.
If you're going to deviate beyond the EU or the NA store, here's definitely your man to check out. His knowledge, as you've heard today, it's very widespread, and his passion is clearly infectious. So thank you so much if you've made it this far. We will be back next week. Have a wonderful week. May your trophies fly every which way, Reddy.
Yes.
And hopefully land on your own account. Thank you so much for today.
No worries.
Push2Plat podcasts are conceived, written and edited by CJ Anderson in Adobe Audition. YouTube upload handled by repurpose.io. Music licensing by artist.io. Push2Plat would like to thank our Patreon producers Zador VP, Redbeard Rick, T-Bird, Olsero and Ready to eBeg. Without your support, this show would cease to exist. If you would like to say hi, jump into the Discord in the show notes or on Twitter at Push2Plat. If you're interested in supporting the show, then jump on Patreon, the Push2Plat Patreon, where you can find more information on how to support us and allow us to continue to bring wonderful guests and topics from around the world.